Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
You want anytime, anywhere.
Get away from me.
Probably at your house. I'm just going to make some assumptions. Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
If you said I can have football right now and they pump in crowd noise, I'm fine with that.
A labor of love for Dan Patrick.
And to be able to do that is rewarding.
That is, unless he's completely faking the whole thing.
I'd rather have no crowd noise, but if you said, hey, you got football coming back and they're going to have some fake noise, I will get over it.
Dan Patrick.
As a journalist, I'm very, very much against fake crowd noise, fake fans. Let's embrace what this is.
Interesting take, Paulie. Considering for years, you've condoned Seaton's fake laughter.
The only truth is everybody is lying.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
You might have had the under, but we made it to a Friday. It's hour one, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Gang's here, ready to go. Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers, will stop by. Chris Sims, he'll join us on loan from NBC Sports. He stirred it up a couple of days ago where he threw out the rumor that the Seahawks were entertaining the idea of trading Russell Wilson Jr. III a couple of years ago to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for the number one overall pick. Your phone calls are always welcome, emails, tweets. We'll have a poll question, play of the day, a couple of stats of the day as well. A battle's brewing over money between Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association and how they're going to divvy this up in this shortened season. Now, the issue has a face to it, and it's the Rays pitcher Blake Snell. He spoke out on Thursday, and he said one of his own social media channels on this, he said it's not worth the risk to go out there and play for less pay. Snell's comments shift the debate a little bit here because he cites concerns about his safety. The conversation gets a lot more serious when players talk about the risk they're taking by starting up the season again. We forget that athletes are real people. They're supposed to go out there. You're young. You're getting paid a lot of money. They have the same fears as we do. Snell's a talented pitcher. You're probably not aware of him nationally because he pitches in Tampa. He's a Cy Young winner. He's only 27. Now, at 27, he's going to face less risk, but every player, every person has to come to that decision on their own. I don't care how much you're making. It could be what Clayton Kershaw makes, or it could be somebody who's just being called up from AAA. I'm hopeful that Major League Baseball and other sports will try to return safely and as soon as possible. Now, I'm going to let you hear a little bit of Blake Snell and what he had to say about risking his health in coming back, and that there's a money aspect to this.
If I'm going to play, I should be getting the money I signed to be getting paid. I should not be getting half of what I'm getting paid because the season's cut in half, on top of a 33% cut of the half that's already there. On top of that, it's getting taxed. So imagine how much I'm actually making to play. You know what I'm saying?
So he attached money to this. Is he saying there's an amount that he would come back and play for? That's where I have a problem with this. If he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to risk this health-wise, I certainly understand that, and I applaud him. But is this just about, I want to get full pay for half a season? Then I have a problem with that. Now, another thing. I don't like that Major League Baseball and the owners put this out in the media. This should have been handled behind closed doors between the Players Association and the owners and the commissioner. In good faith, that's what they should be doing, certainly with these times. Blake Snell is now the face of this. Now, you had other players. Bryce Harper came out and backed him. Let me see what Bryce had to say. Nolan Arenado also came out and said, you know what, we should have kept it in private. A lot of things we heard from the owners are through the media. I don't know what's true and what's not. Hardest part, it sounds like everyone has an idea of what the owners are talking about. I feel like the Players Association and the players mostly doing a good job of that, keeping it between us. I feel like that we've been pretty quiet. Some guys have voiced their opinions, and that's okay. They have the right to do that. Bryce Harper said that, hey, this guy's just telling the truth, and you got to respect him for doing that. Let's see. What is he ain't lying. He's speaking the truth, bro. That's what Harper said. I ain't mad at him. Somebody's got to say it. At least he manned up and said it. Good for him. I love Snell. Guy's a beast, one of the best lefties in the game. Well, it's one thing to say, look, I admire him. He manned up. Do you agree with him? Does Bryce Harper agree, hey, I don't want to come back for half the salary? If the players want to get paid their full salaries to come back or it's not worth the risk, now we have a real debate going on here. Can you come back for a 50-50 rev share? That's what the owners are saying. I don't like that it's negotiated through the media. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. But Blake Snell is saying there is an amount of money that apparently I would come back and risk this for, but not what he's making. If it's $6 million, now it's down to $3 million. So the take home after taxes and everything else, what's he getting? $1.8 million. And I know every one of us, if you are out of work, you're looking at this saying, what? I would risk it for 1.8. I'm risking it for far less than that. I know that. Athletes are different than us. They may have the same feelings towards this pandemic, but they're different than us when it comes to something like this. Because he's saying, for what I do, as good as I am, it's not worth risking my life to go out there for $1.8 million. Okay, that's his right. But when you start to say, maybe there is a price tag you'd come back, then I have a problem with that. So what is the price? Is it $10 million? Is it your full salary? Then you'll come back here? Should you be getting paid your full salary to come back? And the answer is no. If it's a shortened season, there's no fans, then I would hope that they work together. The problem is the Players Association is strong, and Major League Baseball has always been at a deficit, it feels like, in dealing with the Players Association. You put it out in the media, now all of a sudden we paint the players as bad guys. And they're not. I think Blake Snell could have said what he wanted to say without saying it the way he did. And it would have softened this, and we would have been more sympathetic to understanding exactly what they're going through. Because it's a great unknown. They don't know. Is it worth going out there? I mean, you got two older members of baseball's establishment, Art Howe and Bob Watson. They have the coronavirus. Art Howe, manager, he's in ICU. We don't know. And you can say a 27-year-old, yeah, you're healthy, go out there. Oh, come on, 1.8 million, 3 million, 10 million. I don't know what the price tag is. It's just, I think it's a bad look for Major League Baseball. Blake Snell could have handled it in a better way, in a softer way, and gotten your message out there. If you want to negotiate through the media, you need to do a little bit better job. It's all individual, and it should be an individual choice. If you don't want to come back, you don't come back, you don't get paid. That's okay. And if you stand for that, I stand with you. But I don't know what'll happen. Can Major League Baseball say you don't have to show up for work? You're not going to get paid, but you don't have to show up for work. And that's what I'm curious. Are we headed for a showdown? Is everybody going to come back? And the answer is, I don't think we know. And that's what I want to ask Clayton Kershaw. Where do you stand on this? He makes a lot of money. What if they cut that in half? Is that still enough? And if you start to put a price tag on your health, that's when I think you're not going to get sympathy from the fans, because you're going to go, I'm only getting $3 million. I'm not coming back for that. The risks are through the roof. Okay, if the risks are through the roof, then don't come back at all. But if you add the money part of it, that's where I think people are going to have a problem with this. 877-3DP Show, email address dp@danpatrick.com. Rob Manfred, the baseball commissioner, was on CNN last night and had this to say about players' safety.
We hope that we will be able to convince the vast majority of our players that it's safe to return to work. The protocols for returning to play, the health-related protocols are about 80 pages in length. They're extraordinarily detailed. They cover everything from how the players will travel, private charters, how those charters have to be cleaned, who has access to the ballpark, strict limits on number of people, tiering of employees. So even those people who are in the ballpark will be isolated in general from the players. So we'll hope that we'll be able to convince them that it's safe.
Yeah. I don't know when they do that. We keep putting in these arbitrary dates that all of a sudden, why is it that you'll hear, and maybe this is college football saying, we expect you back June 1st. Why not June 3rd? Like, does it magically make it better or go away June 1st? Like, we don't need to do June 1st. How about we do June 3rd, June 9th? I don't know. Hey, June 1st. Okay, sounds great. What if the plans are not in place? What if they're not ready? June 1st. That's a magical date, June 1st. No, let's stay away from these dates here. We'll come back when we're ready to come back, when we can come back. And hopefully baseball players will feel safe in coming back. And if you decide that you don't want to play, that should be your right. And the Players Association should stand up for you. But if you're saying, hey, I also want to get paid, then that's not happening. Go around the room here, guys. You guys heard Blake Snell's comments. Paulie, I'll start with you.
I got mixed feelings on this one because I'm wondering if a lot of other players agree with Blake Snell and just didn't have the guts to say it and get criticized publicly. There's a lot of players. There's a dozen guys on Blake Snell's team who make the league minimum, which is about $550 grand. Well, now, while that sounds like a ton of dough to the average person, you basically have a 3 to 5 year window to make all the money for your entire life in baseball. And I wonder if these baseball players the owners can make this money back. The league can make this money back. I can't make this money back. I have a short career to deal with here. I have to accumulate as much wealth as I can in a less than a 10-year career. Most guys have a 5-year career. So I could see a lot of baseball players agreeing with Blake Snell, but not being comfortable with the public criticism that goes with it.
But the money part of it is where they're not going to get any sympathy. And maybe they don't care about that sympathy. But if you're saying that baseball is negotiating through the media, and they did put this out there, and that's when this started to boil up a little bit here. I didn't want Blake Snell to attach money to this. He could have said it in another way where we are sympathetic to you. You are running a risk. We do understand that. But when you say it's just not worth it for that amount of money. So what amount of money is it worth? It's either your health or not. Or is it your health, but it's really about money?
Well, they're asking them to take a double pay cut. Obviously, you're going to take a pay cut because you're playing half the amount of games, so you don't get you don't get 30, you don't get a season full of starts if you're a pitcher. You only get half pay for that, but then a 33% reduction in the half, so you're down to almost very little. If you make $550 a year, you're down to $160 grand is what you're making as a Major League Baseball player this year. $170 grand before taxes. That's not a lot of dough to risk.
McLovin?
I'm torn because I think it was the right message by Blake Snell, but his delivery wasn't perfect. I agree with you. He made it too much about the money. Part of me is like, well, if he doesn't want to take that $1 million to play, like, does he owe it to us to play? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Does the athlete owe it to us to go out there and risk his health?
No.
So so that's where I'm like, but something about his delivery was focused too much on money, and I think his message is right. And also, baseball players use "bro" so well. Oh my God, bro. But I'm right with you. The money was something about his tone off put me a little bit with that.
I'm all for it, and I would applaud Blake Snell if he said, it's just not worth going out there. I don't want to risk. I'm 27. I don't want to risk it. Okay, that's fine. You're not going to get paid, and then when you put the money part of it, then you do have a price on this of your health. That, I think the message gets lost in there, what he's maybe really trying to say. Seton?
But isn't there sort of a price on everybody's health anyway? I mean, it may look a little different when we're talking about a guy who's theoretically making a couple $1 million, right? But there's a price on anybody else's health who's going to work right now. And I mean, some people have to go to work because they need a paycheck. And if they choose to not go to the grocery store that they're working in, then they're not going to get paid and they're going to get fired. It's not like, there's a greater calling of that people are doing that. They're doing that because they have to go to work.
Yeah.
And they need their paycheck. So just because the stakes of that money are a little higher when it comes to, a lot higher when it comes to professional athletes, I think everybody's got a price on their health, and you're willing to. Some people are forced to go to work, and some people have the luxury of saying, "Nah, I don't feel like going to work. I'm not ready yet."
But Blake Snell's not going to get fired. He's 27 with extremely a talented pitcher.
But that's what I'm saying. He has the luxury of having this conversation where there are a lot of people that don't have the luxury of making that decision because they're forced to go back to work. That being said, I don't think that if the season is cut in half, that it's unreasonable to say maybe we should do half the money, or that there should be some reduction in salary. I think leagues all over the world have negotiated reduced salaries for employees or for athletes for their teams. So I don't see why baseball would be any different.
Todd?
Yeah, it's a bad look. I agree with you that as far as you're either feeling safe to go back whenever that date is, that magical date, or not. Bringing in the money, especially with what's going on in the world now, and whether you feel sensitive towards other people's situations or not, or this one's making millions and this one's barely getting by, has nothing to do with it. You can't. He put a price tag on when he'll decide to feel it's safe enough to play, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it goes back to what I said. If he feels like that he's not safe, not going to be safe, and it's not worth the risk, then that's fine. But you're not going to get your paycheck, and maybe he says that's fine. I don't need my paycheck. And if he wants to sit out, then great. I applaud. And it's an individual choice. If you can make it, not everybody gets to have that choice. Or you do have that choice, but the repercussions are far more damaging for somebody who needs to go to work to supply for their family. They have to go to work. They don't have a choice. They run that risk. Healthcare workers, they run that risk. A baseball player, Blake Snell doesn't want to pitch this year. Baseball will go on without Blake Snell. We'll talk to Clayton Kershaw coming up next. We'll settle on a poll question. Once again, play of the day, stat of the day coming up this hour. It's a Traeger Meet Friday. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I share a birthday with a pretty impressive group there. I have George Brett, John Smoltz, Emmett Smith, Ray Lewis, and probably a few others out there that I'm not aware of. Yes, Pauline?
Could today's poll question be whose career would you want of the luminaries you just gave? That's a pretty tough list. You got a lot of Hall of Famers there.
Well, it depends on what McLovin had. Do you have a serious one that has to do with Blake Snell, Major League Baseball?
Well, we do, but I came in this morning and somebody else had offered poll questions after he stole Paulie's This Day in Sports History. Todd is coming after my poll question too.
I did throw in a few. A shocker. I just decided.
But are they any good, McLovin?
Wow.
Well, they're pretty standard. They're ones I've seen all throughout the quarantine.
Okay.
Like, would you go to a sporting event without a vaccine kind of questions, which are great questions.
I think all three of them were relevant, and at least one of them is worth possibly considering for an hour.
All right, let's go. Let's hear.
If you're a football coach, would you offer a financial incentive to lay out a player?
All right, we'll talk about that situation with James Harrison and Mike Tomlin coming up.
Would you agree to be away from your family all year to salvage the baseball season? These stories of quarantining at Walt Disney World or Vegas or wherever, where you're not going to see your family till the entire half season is over.
I'm going to guess it would probably be for about 3 months, but it wouldn't be the entire season. All right.
That's still a long time.
All right.
And the last one, which I think is relevant, it's not necessarily for today. You could ask this any day, but I threw it out there. Will you attend sporting events as soon as you're allowed to? Meaning from that first day, we consider it safe, and you're running and buying tickets, and the next day you're at a baseball game or a football game.
Yeah, Paul.
I just want to clarify the previous poll question. You're asking me if I would leave my family to go play baseball with my friends for hundreds of thousands of dollars for 3 months?
That is the question.
Okay,
like where you're several months away, and other than FaceTime, you're not going to see them for a weekend or a day. You're just all about the paycheck and being able to play ball with the guys.
This program brought to you by LegalZoom. They make it easy to set up the right estate plan without leaving your home. Take care of your family today. The right estate plan at LegalZoom.com. Take a break. The Dodgers' great Clayton Kershaw joins us next. This is the Dan Patrick Show. Traeger Grill's fired up, by the way. And it is going to be a feast de resistance. Let's trademark that, Paulie. Feast de resistance.
I'm on it.
Yes. Do you understand what that means, McLovin?
Not really. What does it mean? It means feast of resistance?
Well, the piece de resistance.
Oh, right. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, what does that mean? I've always heard that. I've never understood what it meant, actually.
That's the name of your new food truck. It's like French, but it's
feast
French food. It's feast
de resistance.
Yeah.
This Saturday is Traeger Day, a celebration of community and wood-fired flavor, and you can gear up the flavorful festivities. Traeger is offering 20% off rubs, sauces, and liners from May 15th through May 17th. Contact your local dealer. Visit TraegerGrills.com/TP Show. Stock up for the big day. TraegerGrills.com/Dan Patrick Show.
Dan, moments ago, the I-Team heard this in the studio. Happy birthday, Dan. Happy birthday, Dan. And then I heard, the I-Team heard, I should say, not me. Blank, you've already ruined my birthday. Dan, would you like to elaborate?
Oh, this is painful.
Go ahead.
You know who I normally hear from first?
On your birthday?
Yeah.
Not me. I try to get in early, but...
Now, you're usually the last one.
Oh.
And I have to remind you it's my birthday. McLovin, I don't expect. He's got other things on his
Tradition.
mind. Seton O'Connor, first in line.
He always is or was today?
No, he was today.
Oh.
You know who's always first? Sometimes even the day before? Todd Fritz.
Not this year?
No.
I let you down.
No, it's disappointing. Disappointing.
I want to bum you out already this early. Just getting started.
Yeah, you know, when I saw Seton and it was a nice note, really a nice note, and I went, that's a nice note. Where's Todd's note? I don't want it from you, but when I don't get it, I'm disappointed. And that's what happened, Todd.
Great expectations. Was that Charles Dickens?
Yeah, Paul.
We have more on this story because Todd was up late last night. I got a text from him that woke me up at after 11 p.m. Clayton Kershaw calling in today. So he was awake when it was about to become your birthday.
There were opportunities there, like leading up to midnight. I was up probably till about 1:30 in the morning, and I had a window to definitely be first.
But I don't know if this was a choice that you made.
It was not a choice. I was trying to pick my spot. Yeah, I always get teased for being the first, that I'm very competitive, that I got to be the first one to exchange pleasantries. So I kind of put the brakes on that. I held back.
Oh, so you did this on purpose.
No, actually, I didn't. I just didn't.
Did you forget, Todd?
I didn't forget, and I don't forget because I write down
what
everything
is it?
anyway.
You either did it on purpose or you forgot.
I didn't forget. I just chose. I didn't forget. I just chose not to send it to midnight.
Oh, I don't want.
Are you walking?
He's leaving. He's leaving already. We have to do a show.
Oh, he's going
And
back
on a Meat Friday, no less.
Yeah, he's going back in
Walking
that
out?
little office of his.
Can't walk out like
Oh,
that.
that was a door slam.
Got 3 hours. Entertain a nation here.
Is it a choice or?
Dan Patrick Show brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. It's the all-new GT 4-door coupe because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our interviews from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app, watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG driving performance. He's the great Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers pitcher, joining us on the program. Good morning, Clayton. How are you?
Hey, good, guys. How are y'all?
What are you doing all day?
Just feeding babies.
Is that Cooper?
Yeah, this is our newest. He's 4 months now, and yeah, man, we're doing good. We're just kind of hanging. We're trying to do a little school with the older two, and I'm kind of working out and throwing when I can, and then it's really about it.
Give him a little airtime here. Let me see
There
Coop.
he is. This is his debut, guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Left-handed, right-handed? Do we know yet?
Tough to tell. But we'll see. He's been a good kid, so he's a third kid, so he knows he hasn't got to be good.
You know what? And you know this. After the first one, you take all the precautions, you do all the right things, and then the second one, you ease off a little bit. By the time you get to the third, and when we got to our fourth, we're like, whatever. That pacifier falls out. How long was it on the floor? Stick it back in your mouth. You're good.
100%.
All right, so who do you work out with at home?
Just me. Yeah, just hang out. And then I have there's one guy here that I throw with every day. And yeah, man, I feel like I'll be ready, whenever this thing gets going. If it does, I feel like I'll be in a good spot. So it's it sounds optimistic, right? Everybody seems to keep talking about it like it might happen. So that's exciting.
How long do you need to get ready? If I said do you need to know the date for the start of the season for you to then go through your routine to get ready for the start of a season?
I mean, that would be nice, to have the start date, but I think they're proposing like a 30-man roster potentially, so that you don't have to build up quite as much when that happens. You only need 4 or 5 innings really to start the season if you have 30 guys on board. And then, and so, I mean, with extra 30 guys, I mean, you probably only need 2 or 3 weeks to be my guess.
But how much contact are you having with, whether it's manager with Dave Roberts or the Players Association? Like, who is your voice here to help you understand what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I talked with Doc. Nobody really knows. We're all just kind of in a holding pattern as far as, what the season might look like, just because, everything changes week to week, month to month with what's going on right now. So nobody really knows for sure. Obviously the MLB just sent over that proposal that we're looking over, I think, right now and having to talk about it soon. But nobody really knows. No one knows what it's going to look like yet.
What did you make of Blake Snell's comments?
Blake, you know what? He was a little bold, obviously. Hey, Dan, let me I need to give this guy up real quick.
Okay, all right. I hope you gave him to your wife. I don't know.
I just see this right here. Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
I think it was probably a little bold in what he said, but I think where he's coming from, we've already made a pay concession. We're going to get paid prorated based on the season. So we play 81 games where we get half our pay. We agreed to that already, and I know guys kind of felt like that was what we decided, as a union. And obviously with no fans changes things, I guess, for some owners, but we're still playing the same game. We're still playing baseball. We still agreed to our salaries based on that. So all I can say about everything is if it deems medically that we're able to play and we can't figure out the business side of it between the two sides, it's not going to look good on anybody. Yeah. So if we do figure out medically, I'm pretty optimistic that we can play.
Well, how concerned are you about that with your health? I mean, the conversations you have with your wife.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's obviously risk involved anytime, but there's also risk just going outside any day. And there's a lot of people smarter than me, thankfully, figuring this stuff out as far as what is protocol for what's going forward and how to do this baseball stuff. And bottom line is, I think the majority of us want to play. We want to play and we want to be out there. And for whatever small bit it is, it's probably helpful to the country to see some sports. I know I'm tired of watching PGA golf reruns over and over again. So I think, we want to do it. And if somebody smarter than us says that we can do it, I think, I'd be on board for sure.
And listening to Blake Snell, and I said, if you really are worried about your health and you don't want to play this year, you're not going to get paid, and that's your stance, then that's fine.
Right.
I applaud you. I mean, it's everybody's individual choice here. The tricky part, though, Clayton, is what if the medical community says it's safe, the Players Association deems it safe, the commissioner deems it safe, and you still don't want to go back? What happens to that player or those players who say, we still don't want to go back?
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think it'll still be their choice. And I don't think that's going to be, I might be naive in this, but I don't feel like that's going to be the vast majority of players. You know, you might have a few guys that have like some serious health issues within the family, or some people that they just can't take the chance of being around and playing baseball, and totally get that. But hopeful that the vast majority of people can play and feel good about it.
He's Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers pitcher. You got your hat on here. Can you take?
You don't want to see that.
No, yeah, come on. Is it Bryce Harper like? Yes. Is this Bryce Harper like?
It's just I sleep on this side. I don't sleep on this. I sleep right here. So it was a good night of sleep.
I think you just added about 2 inches to your height here with that hat there.
That's great.
Now wait, does your wife who cuts your hair?
Well, nobody right now, obviously, but you know, I don't get a lot of haircuts. You know, I kind of let it go for the season, and then just kind of cut it up at the end of the season and go from there. But I have my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law has cut my hair before plenty of times. So if I get desperate enough, I'll make that happen.
Isn't it great though? You get to wear a hat to work. Like you're an adult and you get to wear a hat to work every day.
I know. Shorts and T-shirts every day. It's awesome.
You got a baseball near you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. Is this an important baseball you have there, or is that like a memento of anything?
Well, I got a ration. This is a brand new Pearl, and I got a ration right now playing catch because I only have so many left, and I don't know how much longer, so I got to make sure this lasts, but that's about it.
Okay. Can you show us some of the grips that you have?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Now, I remember Harold Reynolds did something on Baseball Tonight, and it was on Johan Santana. And he said, this is what hitters see. The arm slot delivery for a changeup and a fastball looked exact. And Harold Reynolds matched up 2 pictures. He said, tell me which one's a fastball and which one's a changeup. Now you know how difficult it is when you're facing great pitchers. Do you ever have pictures of your arm slot that says, that's my changeup, that's my fastball, and then make sure that they mirror each other?
Well, not the changeup, because I don't know how to throw one of those. But I think, you know, that's any good pitcher. I think, you know, they all kind of look the same coming out of your hand, and then they do different things, you know. So I guess the number one rule in pitching is to make everything look as similar as possible, and then as long as possible. And then at the end, it moves differently. So nothing should change about your arm slot or your arm angle or anything. It's just the grip of the pitches and how you release it.
All right. So show me the fastball, the grip of the fastball.
All right. So I hold it like this with the horseshoe on this side. And a lot of guys hold it like this with the, I just did it again, with the horseshoe on this side. But for me, I hold the horseshoe right there and just straight across, 4-seam fastball. I don't know how to throw a 2-seam fastball, so I just throw that.
Okay. Now if you're throwing your breaking ball.
So curveball, you take this seam right here. Let's see. It's hard to do it on Zoom kind of. And then middle finger right there. And then a lot of guys do different stuff with their index finger. Some spike it, some point it straight up. I think Eric Gagne did it like this. And a lot of guys are doing this now. But me, I just throw a pretty standard curveball. And this one's just kind of along for the ride. All the pressure's right there. The thumb is on that seam, and then you just pull down like as hard as you can.
But if I'm looking at that, I see your finger up.
Yeah.
Aren't you tipping your?
That would be, you know, yes, I guess in theory, but that would be pretty tough to see. I feel like because your arm's moving so fast at that point by the time it come out of your glove. But I mean, guys, you know, if you're at second base, you can see a spike if you hold it in your glove the wrong way. And so guys get tips that way. So you got to kind of cover it up with your glove.
Can you tell when somebody at second base is telling somebody at home plate what's coming?
Nah, sometimes if they're really bad at it, but most of the time, no.
So if they say breaking ball, then you know that they're probably bad at it?
I would get that, yeah. I would figure that out.
Can you throw a knuckleball?
No. No, like 1 out of 10, I can get it to do something, but I think they do it like that. I think they I think our like R.A. Dickey, I was like he did that, I think, and just kind of like pushes it.
I'm
But I
still
don't know how to-
amazed with it. I asked Phil Necro about it, and he
Yeah,
shows
it's
you.
incredible.
Yeah, and then I hate playing catch with somebody who throws a knuckleball because they think it's funny that you're getting, hitting the knee or hitting the groin or whatever. And
Yeah, Charlie, we have Charlie Huff around still, and
Oh, yeah.
Charlie can still do it. He can still just fire knuckleballs at you. It's amazing.
But I'm just fascinated, though, that the difference in how guys hold a baseball and how much pressure you add to a baseball and how light. It's almost like a golf swing. That guys sometimes will grab it, grip it too tight. Can you grip it too light or too strongly?
I don't know. I always grip everything pretty firmly. I don't know. I just always, I don't have a loose grip on anything. That's probably why I don't throw a change up very well. But what's funny is that you talk to guys and whoever has the best of whatever, you talk to different guys about their changeups or different guys about their sliders, and you want to see their grip because you're like, that's how they do it. They have a different, it's the same grip. Everybody has the same stuff. It's just how their arm works, how it moves, how it comes out of their hand. Like the grip is almost irrelevant to some extent. And it's just, over the years, you want to see how guys hold different things, but there's very few times that the grip is just like, oh, that's it. That's what changed my career,
Did anybody try to change your windup?
No, I mean, I've kind of had the same, over the years, I think I've paused a little bit more at the bottom, and then, I do that stupid thing out of the stretch where I lift my hands up real high.
Wait, you acknowledge it's stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb, but now I can't get rid of it. And it's like part of it now. So I can't not do it.
Oh gosh. Well, hey, it's great to talk to you. Hopefully we get some baseball played. And more importantly, good luck with Cooper there.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Clayton. That's Clayton Kershaw, Dodgers pitcher. And there he is, putting his hand up over his Zoom, saying goodbye. Yeah, a little coop in there. That was nice. Yeah, I'm always amazed when you look at guys who are pitching and they don't want to give you anything. They don't want to tell you anything. They don't want to. Guys will dig into their glove deeper. Guys will position the ball in their glove differently. It's the smallest thing. There are guys on every baseball team, and their job is to spot this. Now, they have other responsibilities. There's guys, old school guys, who are so good at this. They'll notice where you are on the rubber. They'll notice arm slot. They'll know position of glove at delivery. They'll notice position of glove when you get the ball back and then you put it in your glove. And he's right. The guy at second base is going to look, and he can tell if you start to dig in and you have that finger that's spiked, they can give a signal, whatever their indicator is from second base. Like you can do it in a way that is allowed. Baseball, these are the unwritten rules. You're allowed to do this. Like it's accepted if you're going, hey, and here's what's coming because I'm watching it and he's letting me see what's in his glove. But when Harold Reynolds showed me those pictures of Johan Santana, who had an unbelievable changeup, and I couldn't imagine being at the plate where here's a pitch that's going to be 92 or here's one that's 72. And now you got a split second to make that decision there. Pretty crazy. And Kershaw's curveball is probably, it might be the greatest in baseball history. And the only reason why I say that is I have statistical data that backs that up. Clayton Kershaw, the batting average off his curveball in his career is 137. I don't know, if there are other, like who the other people be in that category there, but Clayton Kershaw's curveball, opposing hitters bat 137. I was going to show Clayton my pitching performance, my windup.
You were going to give him some tips?
Well, not tips, but just, hey, these are alternatives. And this is a pitcher sharing with a pitcher. That's all. It's like Kobe was always asking, other players, like, give me some of these tips here. Like Reggie Miller, show me your step back jumper. I would have helped Clayton with that because I had the 12-6 curveball when I was pitching for Mason High School. Yeah, Paulie.
Can you imagine the first game of the Dodgers season? The announcer goes, somehow Clayton Kershaw has turned into a knuckleball pitcher and it gotten rid of the curveball exclusively.
No. And you could just hear Charlie Steiner during the broadcast. And something's wrong with Kershaw. It feels like everybody knows that curveball is coming here. Why did I try to do Vince Scully there? Charlie didn't sound like Vince Scully. Yes, Paulie.
It is interesting to see, though, you as a baseball fan at home, you can't see what's going on in the glove. And to see Kershaw walk you around the baseball with his hand and say, I like the seams on this side. Most other guys do it on this side. And the fact that he had to do it, he had trouble doing it with his hands facing us. He had to turn it around. And he's like, this isn't comfortable for me. I'm used to it in my glove.
A lot of these guys, they don't want to think. They're just out there. This is how I do it. And then all of a sudden you say, can you explain how you... And it goes back to a conversation I had with John McEnroe where I said, how do you explain what you do? And he looked at me like, I don't even know where to start with it. He goes, I can't explain it. I do it. My job is not to explain it. It's to do it. And it was just great insight into an artist. And I always viewed McEnroe as an artist that I don't know how I do it. I just do it. We want to understand it so we can try it. He couldn't explain it. Take a break. Play of the day coming up next year. Your phone calls as well. This is the Dan Patrick Show. Your top 10 all-time list at the quarterbacking position.
Right.
So the rationale for your top 10 list was?
Right. Well, I mean, just how good of a quarterback are you? You know, that's the way I kind of look at it.
So it's not accomplishments.
It's not accomplishments to me. No, you know, accomplishments, hey, that's not even close. We know Tom Brady's number one there. That's hands down. Yes, I got you. Now, yeah, just because his team and he was a part of so many great accomplishments, you know, again, I just don't always say he's the greatest of all time. I don't. I'm not always going to go with accomplishments there because what are we going to start saying? Eli Manning is better than Brett Favre because he won an extra Super Bowl? I mean, no, you know that's not to be true. Or I always go back to my old saying, I mean, is Phil Simms better than Dan Marino because he's got it? Absolutely not. I'm not going to say that. So, you know, the accomplishments, sometimes I think we take the team. We're in this era right now of quarterback on a pedestal, and he's the reason you win and lose. And, you know, sometimes I just try to fight back against that narrative. And, yeah, I'm going off of what I think the best quarterbacks are.
So the most talented quarterbacks of all time, you got Aaron Rodgers, John Elway.
Yeah.
Then you put Brady in there.
Yeah. I think Brady's talent is underrated. Brady is special. I mean, his arm is special. You see now, he's still got a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. He can still throw it 65, 70 yards down the field, you know. And then Brady's toughness and size and all that. Yeah, I mean, I think Brady is definitely one of the three best quarterbacks of all time. And I would say that if he only won 2 or 3 Super Bowls, I would be saying that. It has nothing to do to me with the Super Bowl.
Peyton Manning, not athletic, not a big arm.
No, not athletic, but again, size, more athletic, I think, than he gets credit for. You know, an arm that's really good. And then, I mean, Peyton Manning, you know, he kind of changed football with what he did too. So some of the coaching / quarterback that he was on the field, yeah, I kind of combine that together with that as well. And I mean, Peyton Manning, 4 Super Bowls with 4 different head coaches. I mean, the things he did, yeah, I think Peyton's, you know, among the greatest.
Also, you're talking about talent, but, you know, your mind.
Yeah.
You know, that's something
that goes into it, no doubt about it. None of these guys really are stupid. I mean, you know, some are maybe smarter than others, right? You know,
do you want to mention
Terry Bradshaw, right? Terry's my buddy. He knows I'm just joking.
But, you know, I'm looking at Roger Staubach, how talented he was.
Yeah, right.
And Bradshaw, you know, was a javelin thrower in college. I mean, he was a great athlete.
Yeah, never gets really mentioned when we talk about great quarterbacks of all time. Well, I mean, you know, and again, because he was on a great team and he won 4 Super Bowls, and I think people kind of wipe it away. But, I mean, yeah, he won 2 NFL MVPs, won 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and, you know, was a big-time player. Not always easy to play in that style of offense, too. Run the ball. Okay, now it's 3rd and down. Throw a bomb to Stallworth or Lynn Swann. You know, that's not always easy. Sometimes it's easier to be dink and dunk and kind of be in a rhythm throwing the ball, too.
Joe Montana is behind Marino and Favre and Manning. And
I know,
That's the one you heard from a lot of people. That,
yes, I did.
And Drew Brees being 10th on your list,
right?
Because he had just set the record.
Right. It's recency bias, too. I think people, you know, I mean, we even did a poll on PFT this week where people said, like, right now they would take Drew Brees over Tom Brady. And I want to be like, if this poll was taken 5 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, I don't think that's the case. But because New England's struggling. I mean, 6 weeks ago, Drew Brees was 3-2 as the starter, and Teddy Bridgewater was 5-0. So, but it is a little recency bias. Drew Brees is awesome. He's amazing. There's no doubt. Do I think he's a little overrated in the all-time lure of things? Yes. Do I think that John Elway or Dan Marino, if they were playing with Sean Payton in this era, would they put up stupid numbers? Of course they would. And then the other thing I look with Drew Brees too, and again, if you're the top 10 of anything, I'm trying to say this so people will stop eviscerating me sometimes. You're top 10 of anything, you're really good, all right? But, Drew Brees, you're not going to be top 5 to me when you have a stigma of you can't play in 3/4 of the stadium in the NFL. That to me just says it all almost right there. He has a stigma of not being able to play outdoors in cold weather. That's to me where I go Tom Brady stats compared to Drew Brees. They're not even comparable.
Yeah, but Peyton Manning benefited from this
Sure,
as well.
but he did go to Denver at the end and showed that was capable too, where he threw 55 touchdown passes and played in Kansas City and other games too.
Yeah.
He didn't have the stigma of, oh, gosh, he's going outside. The Colts are going to lose with Peyton Manning. He didn't have that. So I look at that. Of course, a perfect offense that's around him. You watch the game on Monday night. I mean, Michael Thomas, the best receiver in football. He's matched up against guys. We're going, how did he get him matched up against a linebacker, a safety, whatever it may be that way too. And then, Drew, won Super Bowl, no MVPs. I think that speaks to a lot of it too. A lot of it's yards and it's great and completion percentage. But yeah, I just don't think he's as talented as the guys I got in front of.
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day.
Check this out.
Green weaving, trying to get the shot up. No call that way. Curry flings it the other way, and he got it! What a turnaround! Curry the three! A miraculous shot by Curry. The length of the floor for three.
Mike Tirico, Hubie Brown, the call on ABC. 5 years ago today, the Warriors advanced to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 39 years. Went on to win the first of their 3 titles. Made it to the finals 5 years in a row. Play of the day brought to you by LegalZoom. Need to make it legal, make it LegalZoom.com. You don't have to leave your home. You can take care of your loved ones, set up an estate plan without leaving your home. Take care of your family today at LegalZoom.com. Our play of the day. Well, here's a what if. I know, try not to do hypotheticals. What if a lot of the top players would follow Blake Snell's lead? They don't want to play this season. Then Fox, TNT, ESPN can legitimately say they shouldn't have to pay their contracted amount for the watered-down season and postseason without the biggest stars there. You don't get top dollar from the advertisers. If you have a baseball season where you don't have some of your top players, what does that do to your TV contracts? Still a lot to be sorted out. I hope they continue, or they would continue to do this in a professional manner privately, but I think the baseball owners put this out in the media to negotiate in the media, and public sentiment is always going to be on ownership side to say, oh, come on, you guys are getting paid all that money to play a game. It's not that simple here. I don't agree with Blake Snell in how he proposed this, but if it's his right, if he doesn't want to play, then he shouldn't have to play. But it feels like there's more to it than that. Let me see. How about Chris in Atlanta? Hey, Chris. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Dan. First time, long time. 5'7", 165. Just wanted to call and say happy birthday. Happy Meat Friday.
Well, thank you.
Today is my birthday as well, and last night the wife gave me the early birthday present, nice new Traeger grill, and surprised me with it in time so we could be cooking all Meat Friday.
Oh, that is great. How did you thank him? What's your wife's name?
Her name is Jamie.
And how did you thank Jamie?
Oh, I'll have to make it up to her later this weekend. But just a big smile and a big hug.
You know what? I took care of Jamie for you, Chris.
You did?
Yes. Let's bring in Jamie from Atlanta, who joins us now. Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Dan.
That wife of the year got him a Traeger grill. I love it.
I know. And got him on Dan Patrick's show. I figured I'd have a better chance of getting in than he would, though.
Now, he should have to cook a lot, though. Chris, you got to do some cooking, man. There's no excuse because Jamie listens to the show and she knows that it's easy to do and it's hard to screw this up. Okay? Jamie is retired. She's retired from cooking this summer.
I'm very
She's got my
fortunate. Chris
birthday.
is actually usually the cook of the family.
Yes, Chris.
Man, she's got my birthday. She's got Father's Day covered. I got to definitely make it up to her by smoking some meats all weekend. And, yeah, she's awesome.
Do us a favor, Chris and Jamie. Send us a picture to our show and let us see you with the Traeger grill. And great wife there. Jamie, thank you for calling in. And, Chris, happy birthday.
Thanks. Happy birthday to you, Dan.
Love you, Jamie.
All right. There you go. Love in the air. I just bring people together. Traeger brings people together.
He goes, you got to be kidding me.
Well, they didn't know that, like, Chris was calling in. And then all of a sudden, Marvin, who's answering the phones, goes, Chris is calling in. His wife got him a Traeger. And his wife called in, but Chris doesn't know his wife called in. I don't know where they are in Atlanta, if they're in the same house or, one's outside, but they called in, and he didn't know that she was going to call in. That was great. Let's see. A couple more phone calls in here. Steve in Seattle joins us. Hi, Steve. What do you have for me today?
Yeah, 6 foot 210. Back in 2015, if you recall, Baltimore Orioles had that crowdless game.
Yeah.
I was just curious to hear perspective on that, and maybe talk to Buck Showalter or whatnot. And then, secondly, totally unrelated. Moving forward, after we get out of all of this, are we going to continue to have guests on Zoom rather than on phone calls? But it's been pretty cool to see.
Well, I would like to continue with Zoom if we can. I want to be fair to the people we have on. And once we switched over and started doing this on our own, the technology that we have here in our studio was simplified so I could get guests on Zoom. When we had to go through our studios in Los Angeles to then go to our studios here in Connecticut, satellites involved, it became a little bit more of a mess. And this is simple, and we've enjoyed it. To be able to have Clayton Kershaw there with his son feeding him and showing his pitches there. I mean, that's great. Or Barkley there from his man cave. We're going to try to continue to do that. But I want to be fair to the athletes. Some don't want us in their houses. And we certainly understand that. But if they are doing, feels like more and more of these athletes are doing more and more of these interviews, therefore they're more comfortable in how they look, how the camera's positioned, and they have downtime here. Let's see what happens once these seasons start back up again. Anthony in California. Hey, Ant.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
5'11" and 23 years married to the boss this weekend.
Well, congratulations.
All of Chat Row is blowing up wishing you a happy birthday, but I wanted to tell you what's going on here in Southern California. They've closed down the entire LA Philharmonic and Hollywood Bowl for the entire summer season. No, not even an orchestra. So I don't see how Major League Baseball is going to successfully pull this off. No matter how much testing they do, they could test people between innings for all they care, but they're not even allowing fans or anybody else in the orchestra.
Yeah, we got a long way to go. That's why when I hear college football and we're going to have players back June 1st, let's not set a date. We come back when we can come back, when it's right to come back. 1 hour in the books, 2 more to go. This Friday edition, Dan Patrick Show. Can I talk to Ellen?
You want to talk to Ellen?
Yeah. All right.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Ellen. Dan Patrick.
Well, hello.
Hi, Ellen.
Hey, how's it going?
It's great, but I'm curious how much So when you first meet Clayton, when does baseball become? When does that topic get brought up?
That he wanted to play baseball?
No, that you like what he did for a living.
Oh, well, we started dating our freshman year of high school. So, I mean, it wasn't even on, like, a radar at that point.
Now, what was Clayton like as a freshman in high school?
He was the class clown. He was much shorter than he is now, a little bit chubbier, actually a lot a bit chubbier. And, I mean, he was quiet, but he was like the class clown and had tons of good friends. So it was fun. It was fun meeting him when he was 13 years old.
What's it like to watch him pitch when you go to the games?
You know, it used to be absolutely nerve-wracking. I mean, I couldn't handle it, but I think a couple of years into it, I just had to give it up and realize that he's going to do what he does best, and it's got to be just fun for me to watch it because I know that this chapter is going to be so short and fleeting that we just need to enjoy it and not just, live and breathe every pitch or strikeout. So it's become way more enjoyable, especially now that we have a daughter that is keeping us very distracted during games.
Now, what about when he comes home? Are you allowed to talk about the game?
Yeah, he's really good. He leaves it at the field. I mean, he can talk about it, and I can ask him questions. And if he's had a rough day, we can definitely debrief about it. But he's not someone that carries the emotion back with him where he's just going to be in a bad mood the rest of the day or the next couple days. So really thankful for that.
You're a better interview, I think, than Clayton, Ellen.
No, I can talk to anybody.
Well, let me talk to Clayton before I say goodbye, and enjoy the stay in Chicago.
Oh, thanks so much. Here he is.
Ah, there you go. Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
assumptions. Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
If you said I can have football right now and they pump in crowd noise, I'm fine with that.
A labor of love for Dan Patrick.
And to be able to do that is rewarding.
That is, unless he's completely faking the whole thing.
I'd rather have no crowd noise, but if you said, hey, you got football coming back and they're going to have some fake noise, I will get over it.
Dan Patrick.
As a journalist, I'm very, very much against fake crowd noise, fake fans. Let's embrace what this is.
Interesting take, Paulie. Considering for years you've condoned Seaton's fake laughter.
The only truth is everybody is lying.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
We made it to a Friday. It's a Traeger Meat Friday. We've got corn on the cob. We've got chicken on the Traeger grill. It's a happy birthday for me. Happy-ish birthday for me. We're going to pick a Chat Row t-shirt by the end of the show. And I don't know what you guys are voting on, Chat Row. The one with Penny, our house dog on it. I'm gonna have that t-shirt made, whether that's the pick or not. I think that t-shirt's awesome. That is really a beautiful t-shirt. Chat Row and the DP show with Penny, our house dog there. Looks beautiful. But Chat Row, it's your t-shirt. You guys designed it. You guys vote on it. And got about an hour and a half before we announce what t-shirt we're going to go with. And don't screw it up there. Spent some time with Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers pitcher, first hour. It was a lot of fun. And introduced the world to his little boy, Cooper, his newborn son. He was feeding him this morning. Had his Bryce Harper hair. Clayton did. And, we talked about the Blake Snell comments where Blake Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays, former Cy Young winner, and, he's a wonderful pitcher, 27 years of age. He said it's not worth the risk to go back here for that amount of money. And I think the amount of money, part of that is what kind of set some people off, and he's received some criticism. Bryce Harper and Nolan Arenado, some marquee players, did come to his defense, sort of. Kershaw said, look, I think he kind of stated a little bit too strongly. These guys are coming back. They've negotiated something. I don't like that it's been, negotiated in the media, but that was by design by the owners and by the commissioner. And let's put it out there. You're going to have public sentiment on the owner's side of this. Hey, these guys don't want to play, or they're having a problem. They don't want to, play for this amount of money or reduce salary. I understand it. That's part of the game that's played through the media. But Clayton Kershaw said, look, we got a deal. Can't wait to come back. Won't take that much for me to be able to come back and get ready to pitch. Chris Sims from NBC Sports will join us. That'll be next hour. And Chris stirred things up a little bit when he said a couple of days ago the Seattle Seahawks were thinking of trading Russell Wilson prior to the 2018 draft. Now, it's a rumor. Now, I've since heard a couple of analysts say, I heard about this. Okay. And maybe you did, because we don't report on, rumors that we hear. We shouldn't report on rumors. We try to back it up with fact. But there are times when you hear something and you can't nail it down, but it's too juicy to not let people in on it. And Chris Sims said this. Do I think it's possible? Yeah, I do. I don't know if it's a negotiating ploy. I don't know if they really loved Baker Mayfield, or maybe they loved somebody else. But if you're going to trade Russell Wilson to the Browns for the number one pick, then you, I'm sure, are aware of who you were going to take with that number one pick. Yes, McLovin.
Who said no in this proposed deal? Would you think? Who would be more likely to be the one that said, nah, I'm not interested?
Who was rumored to have said no, because we don't.
I was actually logically like, I think the Browns would never do this, because they would never want to pay $35 million and give up the number one overall pick.
And that's money. I think quarterbacks should have their own salary cap. We've said that before. Paulie came up with the idea, and then they actually discussed this with the Players Association and the owners. This was discussed, a separate pay scale salary for just your quarterbacks here. Because I don't think Russell Wilson ends his career in Seattle. I think he's maybe got 2 more years there, maybe 2 more years there. Most quarterbacks, as we know, don't end where they started. Ben Roethlisberger is going to be a dinosaur. Rodgers won't end it in Green Bay. Drew Brees started out in San Diego. We know what happened with Tom Brady. Phillip Rivers goes to the Colts. It's really hard to keep them at that price. And with the salaries going up with quarterbacks exponentially, does Patrick Mahomes end his career with Kansas City? Does Deshaun Watson end his career with the Texans? I would lean towards saying no. If they're going to have a prolonged career, are you going to be able to keep them at that price? Because the other positions aren't going up in salary, in price like quarterbacks are. That's why I think that there might have been some legitimacy to this. If I'm Seattle, and I really think that, and maybe it's Baker Mayfield, we can bring him in with that rookie salary. That's how Seattle built that Legion of Boom, because they were able to pay players, and then once Russ got paid, then you had to let some of those players go. And if I'm Cleveland and I could get Russell Wilson with that team and that he would provide that leadership, like if you had Russell Wilson with the Cleveland Browns this year, and I put Baker Mayfield on Seattle, let's just do hypothetical. Let's go crazy with this. You're taking the Cleveland Browns to be a better team than the Seattle Seahawks because Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback. He never misses a game. 8 years, hasn't missed a game. He keeps you in every single game. And if you had him with that leadership, with the Browns are a legitimate Super Bowl team, in my opinion. I think he adds that much to them. You have a rookie coach in Kevin Stefanski. He would help you out immeasurably. Then you would have somebody who could deal with Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. You would have a running attack there. And Russ has been in a running game offense there in Seattle. I think it would be a perfect fit if you were willing to pay that kind of money to your quarterback. So we'll talk to Chris Sims coming up in a little bit. Poll question, McLovin. Did we decide on one in the first hour?
Well,
I missed it?
I put up Todd's question. Would you leave your family to salvage a baseball season? How do you think people voted on that?
I'm going to say majority yes.
It was actually 54% said no.
Okay.
They would not leave their family.
Okay.
I guess if you have young kids, is that a different scenario? Like Clayton Kershaw there with his baby, that'd be tough.
Yeah, but he said, look, if they deem it safe, then I'm going to go pitch. Now that was his response, but it's individual. I don't know if Blake Snell is married, if he has kids, and if that's important. If you're going to be quarantined or whatever's going to happen here, we don't know all of this yet. We're dealing with hypotheticals, not the reality of this is what it's going to be, and that's why it's hard for these players to go, yeah, I'd do it. They don't know what they're signing up for yet. And in fairness to them, until they do, I have to give them a little bit of leeway here. Yeah, McLovin.
What do you think of the players on NBA teams who are out of the playoffs? This is a tough question, but do you think that they have an obligation to play, even though if there's not much in it for them? Say you're on
are you getting paid? Do you want to continue to get paid? Is that
you're not getting paid much? Like, for example, some of the top guys were reported to have to give money back, like LeBron. And then they said that they won't have to do that. But you're not getting paid a lot prorated.
Yeah, but if you're going to have, are they just going to start the playoffs? Or are they going to have 5 regular season games?
If they had like 10 regular season games, and you're on one of those like 13-win teams, like the Grizzlies or something, would you?
I think you owe it. I think you owe it to the rest of the league to do that for the competitive balance. For you to put what happens if you don't play, and then what happens to those games on the schedule? Do you have to then alter the schedule? That could be a tougher schedule because now instead of facing Memphis, you're going to be facing a team that is in the playoffs. Then it's going to change who might get in and who might get bounced out of there. I think you owe it to the league to be able to do, and that's not asking much. If you come back, get ready for 5 games. Yeah, Paul.
And the other thing about the baseball players maybe being in a quarantine system the last 2 months or 3 months of the season, they've had March, April, May, and June, upcoming June, home with their families, when usually they're either at the ballpark or traveling. So this has been a quite different season where March, April, May, they haven't traveled one bit. They've been sitting at home with their families. So this is might not be as drastic as it's made out to be.
And if you're only going to play a week or 2 weeks or get ready for, it'll take 2 weeks to get ready or 10 days and then you play another week after that, that's not asking that much. As long as they're safe, as long as they feel safe, then fine. I don't want to dictate what somebody should do or shouldn't do. Yeah, McLovin.
By the way, at 32 and 33, the Grizzlies are still the 8th seed. I forgot all about Ja Morant. So
yeah, my
Memphis would
Grizzlies. Yeah,
your Grizzlies. They're ahead of the schedule a little bit.
The final episode of The Last Dance airs on Sunday night, and it's created its fair share of controversy. A lot of people say it's too friendly to Michael Jordan, that it's sort of based on a true story, as the great Sam Smith, the author of The Jordan Rules, said on the show. Maybe too harsh on Jordan's enemies like Jerry Krause. But everything that's been going on, you could argue that this has been the most impactful sports documentary of all time. And I'm not saying the best. Ken Burns' epic baseball was spectacular. ESPN with the 30 for 30s. You had the two Escobars. You had O.J. Made in America. That won the Oscar for Best Documentary. Hoop Dreams from 1994 was so good, it should have been considered for Best Picture, not Best Documentary. But The Last Dance has been viewed in a vacuum here because, you know, all of the nostalgia for Michael Jordan, all those years, it hit the perfect note with a sports-starved country, and it kind of reignited old debates. It started plenty of new ones. It was the right story at the right time. And like a lot of fans, we know how this ends, but we're going to be sad when it's over, and that'll be the final 2 episodes coming up on Sunday night. I think you're going to see a pretty emotional Michael Jordan coming up in the final episode. Dealing with his bodyguard, and he had lost his father, and he treated his bodyguard like he was his father figure. And it was really important for Michael to have this person around. I think you're going to see that softer side. The edges are going to be smoothed down for Michael Jordan coming up in the final episode. Now, there's prop bets. How many cigars are smoked? How many people smoke cigars in the episode? You can actually bet on it. Does Michael cry? Oh, I definitely go with Michael cries. Yeah, Paul.
I think the prop bet for me, or maybe the guess for me, is what will be the final shot before they go to credits? What will be the final thing you see? Will likely Jordan, but what will it be? Will it be him sitting there with a cigar? Will it be something different?
Don't they have a picture of him kissing the floor, the logo, at the Chicago Stadium? And I don't know. I think he did that. I don't know when he did that. I think he did that. I don't know if that's the last. Is it something with the Washington Wizards? Or just like, this is over, and then you just show that it wasn't truly over, that there's something with Michael in a Washington Wizards uniform. But what are some of the prop bets that you saw, McLovin, attached to this?
One of them was, will he be shown in a Wizards uniform? And the odds are -200 no, +150 yes. So that means likely that they will. Don't they have to cover that part, Dan?
Well, this is The Last Dance about the Bulls.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they just kind of throw it in there just to say to be continued. Did NBA Entertainment follow Michael Jordan with the Wizards? That's what I want to know. Do we have to wait another 20 years before we get to see the Wizards documentary here? First person shown on Sunday night, Phil Jackson, Jerry Krause, Scottie Pippen, Jerry Reinsdorf, Dennis Rodman. By the way, they owe an E in Krause there. They spelled it wrong. How many people with a cigar? How many times is the F word used? Over, under 2.5. Will Michael cry? Yeah. So those are some of the prop bets here with the Jordan documentary. And then we'll have Reggie Miller on Monday. We know that Reggie, his interview airs episode 9. And, you know, Reggie and Michael did not have a good relationship. You know, they had, I think there was respect in their relationship, but there wasn't a whole lot of praise or love or, you know, Reggie has been, it still bothers him. It bothers him about this relationship or, you know, how they faced each other, what happened. He lost a game, a big game that they should have beat them in that would have prevented this last championship. So Reggie has taken it personally, and he said, I wanted to be the one to retire Michael Jordan, and I can't imagine. That's going to be aired on Sunday night. I can't imagine how Jordan's going to react to that. I'm going to guess you're going to get a big belly laugh from Jordan when they say, here's what Reggie Miller had to say. I wanted to be the one to retire Michael Jordan. And then you'll get Jordan with that big belly laugh. But that's just some of the things, some of the items coming up there on Sunday night. Yeah, Paulie.
Do you think that after this documentary is over, Michael Jordan is different as far as a public figure? Because for the past 15 years, he's been basically silent. He does his work, and he doesn't do a lot of interviews. Remember, he did the Wright Thompson interview a few years ago, and then this, and he doesn't talk. He's not active. He's a hidden guy for the most part.
I would
think any chance he goes the opposite way?
I don't see why. I mean, he's done the interview. He never has to do another interview.
But he's had a good dose of himself in front of him the past few weeks.
He may be tired of himself.
Yeah.
And there will eventually be where there's, I mean, it's nice to see Michael, and people get to see him, get to tell people that they saw Michael Jordan, but I don't think this changes anything. I mean, would I expect him out? He doesn't even go to all the basketball games where he's the owner of. He's kind of a recluse. I mean, he's made a lot of money. He built his own golf course. He's got, twin girls that are young. I don't think Michael is going to be front and center doing a TED Talks. Yeah, Paul.
It would be great if, remember that show Kobe Bryant did called Detail, where he broke down players in detail with film?
There's no way Michael would do something like that.
But I would love for someone to take a shot and see if you could use this opportunity to get him to say, like, hey, would you do a regular thing? All you have to do is sit in your lounger.
Yeah, but Kobe helped players. Michael never helped players.
Again, I know what I'm saying. History is against what I'm saying here, but I'm wondering if any chance that he goes the opposite way.
There's not a chance. Yeah. Not a chance. Kobe helped so many young players. Michael never helped anybody. I mean, he helped his own teammates by pushing them, but he was not going to give you a tutorial on how to be as good as Mike or some of the things that Kobe he wasn't afraid to say, here's how you do this. And whether it was NBA players, college players, or even, women college players or women from the WNBA, he was willing to help be that mentor. Mike that's just not who he is. Yes, Eaton.
Well, in The Last Dance, they do show that one moment, though, of I think it was in an All-Star game, and Kobe is trying to back down Jordan, or they're like talking to each other, and he's like, hey, how do you do this one move? And they're in the middle of the game, and Michael said, oh, you have to feel the defense with your feet. That's how you know which way you're supposed to go or whatever. Like, he was giving Kobe those kinds of tips. What is it about Kobe that made him different than anybody else? Is it that he just identified someone on that same level, or?
I think he truly saw himself. I think he truly saw the same makeup, physical and mental makeup. And I think Michael, he never suffered fools gladly. Like he wanted you to be great. He pushed you to be great. He realized Kobe was pushing himself to be great. And I think Michael saw that and didn't feel threatened by it. I think he looked at it and said, Kobe is who he is because of me. And I think that he felt comfortable being able to share that with Kobe and being a big brother to Kobe Bryant. 1994 final event at Chicago Stadium was a charity basketball game. And Michael Jordan, despite being in retirement at the time, although he returned 7 months later, participated. He scored 52 in a charity game.
Probably yelled at people.
At the end of the game, Jordan kneeled and kissed the Bulls logo at center court. And then they, of course, got the new place. But I don't know if that's how you end it, because chronologically, it wouldn't be correct. But, yeah, I don't know. I was wondering about that. What do you do? What is that final moment of Michael? Is it from behind? Is he walking out?
That's a good call.
Is it a basketball play? I think it's because this documentary is more about the person, not the player. Paulie, Chase the director. Ask Jason Hare, what's the final shot?
Oh, then we could get some prop bets down.
Yeah. Yes, McLevin.
Are we going to be debating whether it was a push-off against the Jazz?
No, it was a push-off. Absolutely, it was a push-off. And they didn't call it in Utah. In Chicago, he gets away with it. In Utah, yes.
I don't know if you already said this about the final shot, but there's it's an iconic video and the pictures of Michael Jordan crying holding the Larry O'Brien trophy.
Mm-hmm.
That you always see that much because like the veins are coming out of his head. He looks like he's just squeezing the hell out of that thing.
Yeah.
I would bet that because the whole thing has really been about his obsession with that trophy.
With winning.
Yeah. That would be my vote for the last shot.
Yeah, Todd.
Couldn't it be as simple as him in his prime that's soaring in the air shot with his tongue out, just flying in the air, getting ready to dunk? That would be the last scene, meaning the last moment of some kind of sequel, or does it have to be that dramatic, or what's next for Michael Jordan?
Yeah, but this isn't about him, the basketball player. It's about him, the person. That's what this documentary is about. Because we knew the basketball player. We didn't know the person. That's what the documentary is all about. Take a break, 20 after the hour. We'll come back with your phone calls. Also, is the league going to investigate James Harrison's comments about maybe Mike Tomlin paying his fine after the hit in a Cleveland Browns game with the Steelers? Have that story for you coming up right after this. You check things all the time like your email, Instagram, and how about checking something important as your credit? Discover makes it quick and easy. Best of all, it's free. Discover is now offering FICO credit scores, the score used by 90% of top lenders, for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes. The Discover Credit Scorecard. It's free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. That's discover.com/credit scorecard to check your FICO credit score. Limitations apply.
So it is another special day today. It is National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. I mean, that's a good one.
Snap.
Yeah, you're not kidding, Seton. I was wondering who invented the chocolate chip cookie, because there's a lot of foods that we don't know who invented. This one's really specific. A woman named Ruth Wakefield in the 30s, she ran a place called the Toll House Restaurant in Whitman, Massachusetts. And they used to make different kinds of cookies. And she took a chocolate bar and just chipped it up and put it in the mix. And everyone went crazy and said, we love these chocolate chip cookies. It was like an accompaniment to coffee after dinner, or to ice cream, she actually put them. The chocolate chip cookie quickly became so celebrated from Ruth Wakefield that Marjorie Husted, who had a big radio show, and her nickname was Betty Crocker, boom, it all coming together, featured it on a radio show. On March 20th, 1939, Wakefield gave Nestle's the right to use her cookie recipe and the Toll House name, gave. In a complete bargain, they paid $1 for the rights to the chocolate chip cookie, Toll House, and all that. She was given free chocolate for life, like the Willy Wonka plan.
Great.
Later, it was said that she was also paid by Nestle's to work as a consultant, but the rights to the chocolate chip cookie sold for $1 by Ruth Wakefield.
Those are some big players: Betty Crocker, Nestle's, and Toll House.
Yeah, that's the Mount Rushmore of baked goods.
There is also, just a short time after that, a fella named, I don't know if you guys know this part of the story, but there was a guy named Charles Witch. His friends call him Chip. And he took 2 of those Toll House cookies and put ice cream in between them, and then was like, you know what? Let's get some more chocolate chips, and we'll roll them out and around the outside. And his friends just started calling that a chip witch.
And he was hammered when he did it, right?
He was hammered. Yeah. He was late at night. He was like, I'm going to get some ice cream and put them between. That was the birth of the chip witch.
Wonderful
Also
idea.
tied into this story.
That's later this summer, but National Chip Witch Day is also something to be celebrated.
And
I heard
remember
Duncan Hines III was suing for the copyright for the name chocolate chip cookie. Duncan W. Hines III. You didn't hear about that? We could edit this part out. It's your birthday. You do what you want with that. I was just trying to get in on that. It was one of those many times where I try to get in and I shouldn't have.
Be like
jumped in.
McLovin and just watch the proceedings.
I really should just be entertained by the rest of
Oh,
it.
I'm not watching, Paulie, just to be clear.
if it's possible, Todd, you've ruined my birthday now twice today in the span of an hour.
Why would you say something like that to me? Well, you know it'll destroy my weekend for you, even if you're partially kidding to say something like that.
Oh, I'm not partially kidding, Todd.
You're completely kidding. You're
No.
completely serious.
Yes.
I apologize. I had to get something with Duncan Hines while everybody was going with Betty Crocker and the Chip Witch story.
Charles Witch.
Charles Witch.
His friends
That was
call him
far
Chip.
better than
The problem is the first 2 stories were true.
and more entertaining than anything I just contributed. But we have an editing process.
Thank you, Todd.
There it is.
God.
It'll all be over in a few hours.
Paulie wanted to guard Ray, and Ray blows by him, and then Paulie knocks the ball out from behind.
I played pickup basketball, and I would get beat all day, every day. And that was my only saving grace, that around the back, hopefully tap the ball. It's still Ray's ball.
How did that happen?
That Paulie knocked the ball away
That
from
is
Ray?
the most significant. I mean, when Todd Fritz homered off Mitch Wild Thing Williams was a big deal.
That was big.
When I beat Matt Stainbrook from Xavier 101.
Yeah.
That was huge.
You scored on him. Yeah. I think Ray Allen walked out with maybe a different opinion of this group here.
It's an athletic bunch.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I think he realized after a couple of shots that, you know what, maybe turn your attention to somebody else in the room, right?
I love Paul tips it away and went running. He looked like Jim Valvano. He did exactly that.
You were looking for somebody to hug. You knocked the ball away from Ray.
Damn, my second greatest achievement athletically is archery, third place.
I know.
Tapping the ball from Ray Allen.
Yeah. You know what? I hope the Hall of Fame didn't see this video.
I don't think you could take him out.
They might rescind that. On second thought, Ray, I don't know. I don't know if you're a Hall of Famer. Yes, Todd.
He looked a little dejected and intimidated.
He did.
He looked a little bummed out.
Yeah, and rightfully
He's
so.
like, why did I come here?
Yeah.
Why did I do this?
I know.
Everybody's talking trash. You're critiquing his shooting form.
I was trying to get into his head because he tried to get into my head. He goes, I'll put down $20 because now the pressure's on. And I said, I just looked at him like he goes, what are the odds that you'll make the next one? And I just looked at him like, I can't even, you're embarrassing yourself, Ray, to question me. You know, don't do that. Oh my God. Don't do that. Yeah, Paul.
If Ray owes you $20, that means he's only going to have 181,998,000 left.
Good guy. And congrats. But, you know, wonderful stroke. Wonderful shooting stroke. Get to your phone calls coming up. Folks from Stats Inc. Ethan sent me a note saying Hugh Hollins was one of the refs in Michael's final game in Utah, and he didn't call the push-off. Surely, if anyone would have called an offensive foul on the world's greatest player with an NBA title on the line, Hugh Hollins would have been the guy. Hugh Hollins was also the guy who had the horrible call against the Bulls, who were playing without Jordan that next year and won 57 games with Scottie Pippen, and they lost to the New York Knicks. That was a bad call there. We're also talking about this Russell Wilson rumor. He started in 128 regular season games since Seattle drafted him. With Phillip Rivers moving to the Colts, Wilson has the longest active starting streak by any quarterback with his current team, twice as long as the next longest streak. Dak Prescott was 64. The fact that this Dak Prescott contract situation continues to drag on, now I'm hoping he gets $50 million a year. Like, you could have done this a year ago, and you could have gotten Dak Prescott for what we would now view as a bargain. Now it's going to continue to rise. Every day it feels like he's worth more money because you know Deshaun Watson is waiting to see what Dak gets, and you know Patrick Mahomes is waiting as well. Not that Patrick Mahomes' salary is going to be based off Dak Prescott. I know that the Cowboys want a 5-year deal. Dak Prescott said 4-year deal. Now, if you take a little less money and you go 4 years, that would be my strategy. Let's give him 4 great years. That allows me, before I'm 30, to sign one more big deal. And maybe it's not with Dallas, but I got 4 years. I got a great offensive line. I got all these offensive weapons. I'm going to position myself statistically and hopefully record-wise where I'm going to be an elite quarterback. Go for 4, and if you want to go for $35 million a year, then maybe that's the way to go. You're also going to make more money off the field than just about any other quarterback, just because you play for the Dallas Cowboys. You might be adding $10 million more to your salary there. Now, he may not look at it that way, and it's his money. Get as much as you can, and the Cowboys are going to try to give him less money than he thinks he's worth. But I would go 4 years, and let's go for a number that we think is solid and it's respectful, and it's more than the next highest guy on the list. If that's important to you, go get that. But at some point, Dak Prescott and his agent have to look at this and say, what are we satisfied with? And how long do we want to sign this contract for? If you can go for 4 and you can get 35, 36 million, great. Are you worth 40? No, you're not. Is Deshaun Watson worth 40? He might be worth 40. You're not. Because Deshaun Watson is the face of that franchise. Dak Prescott is not the face of that franchise. They have faces in that franchise. He's not. Jerry Jones is the face of that franchise. But if you're Dak Prescott, 4 years, then you can get another big contract there, and I think that would be the strategy. But the way it's going now, here's Emmitt Smith, the Hall of Fame running back who once held out with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones, had this to say about the contract situation on 103.5 The Fan in Dallas.
If you understand the business of leverage, when you have leverage, then you try to set the rules. And the only way you fight leverage is you fight it by establishing your ground. And I think at some point, this stuff will subside. But as far as the players go, Dak is not worried whether or not he's going to get signed. I'm not even concerned. I believe he will get it done. And I believe the Cowboys will get it done because we don't have room to be playing games and playing chicken.
Yeah, but it still feels like that. If you're going to have a franchise tag on him and it's a 1 year, okay. Are you sold on Dak Prescott being the absolute future franchise great quarterback up there with the other great quarterbacks in the league? And if you are, then hopefully he gets paid that. But if I'm Dak Prescott, you're not an elite quarterback right now. You're a good quarterback. But you didn't even win the division last year. And that was the division that was there for the taking. And it's not all on him, but it does become all on the quarterback when you don't get to the postseason or what you do in the postseason. That's what Dak Prescott, he has to take that responsibility. Not blame, responsibility there. If you want to be an elite quarterback, I want to see what you do when you get to the postseason. All right, a couple of phone calls here. Let me go to Millie in Oregon. Good morning, Millie. How are you?
Hi, I'm 4'5", 75 pounds.
All right, well, welcome, Millie.
I just want to say happy birthday.
Well, thank you, Millie, and tell your dad thank you for calling in as well. What are you doing today?
I'm eating breakfast.
Oh, you're eating breakfast. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Millie, and thank you very much.
My birthday's in 2 days.
Oh, that's great. What do you want for your birthday? Oh, well, you know what? It almost sounded like your dad said that. So maybe your dad wants some DP show gear, and tell Dad that I'll do him for him.
Well, I watch your guys' show every morning with my dad.
Oh, that's sweet. Who do you like the most on the show?
You.
Oh, well, that's the right answer, Millie. Stay on hold, okay? And I'm going to have Marvin take all your information, and we're going to send you out some DP show stuff for your birthday.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. That's Millie in Oregon. Thank you, Millie. Karen in Ohio. Hi, Karen. What do you have for me today?
Hi, Mr. Patrick. Good morning. Bourbon drinking, cigar smoking, 5'6", 125 pounds.
My kind of woman.
I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday and just wanted to say I love listening to you guys. And along with Millie, although I have to disagree, I think Seton is the best.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Karen. Bourbon drinking, cigar smoking, Karen from Ohio. Yep.
Those are my people.
Yeah, of course they are.
That's my people.
Yeah, Paulie.
Yeah, Karen, if you're still listening, I'm a big fan of Pam from Four Houses Down, just so you know.
Oh. Now you care about being liked, Paulie. It's too late.
Right in my face.
Yeah.
Pam is more of the barbecue eating, plaid wearing.
Yeah.
She's got a wagon ear.
Yeah.
Emotionless.
Yeah, mean-spirited.
Yeah.
Terse.
Yeah. Travis in Ohio. Hi, Travis.
Hey, DP. Happy birthday, my man.
Well, thank you.
I think we all drink bourbon in Ohio. I don't know. It just must be a common thing. But I got two things for you today.
Okay.
One, your man Sandman came out with a real good movie on Netflix, The Wrong Missy. It's really funny. I mean, it's a good movie, but would have been great if my Danettes would have got a little scene in there. I mean, come on, with all these movies cranking out, you'd think he'd be able to fit you guys in a little bit.
Yeah, that was the David Spade movie, and yeah, I can't ask to be in every Sandler movie. I try, but I didn't. That was a David Spade movie, not an Adam Sandler movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you produced it. But
Yeah.
my last thing is this the year that we get Dan Patrick to get back on the hometown Cleveland Browns bandwagon?
You know what? When everybody's off, I'm going to be on, Travis. But everybody jumped on a year ago, and then I jumped off. I just thought this is not going to end well. I'm cautiously optimistic with the Cleveland Browns. But the Ravens are going to be good. Cincinnati has to be better. The question is, and Pittsburgh, I think, will be good, competitive. I just don't know about Ben Roethlisberger. If he stays healthy, then Pittsburgh will be their usual dangerous team. But Cleveland has the second most talent, it feels like, in that division. That Pittsburgh defense is good. I'm not quite sold on Pittsburgh's offense, but with Ben in there, he keeps them in games. But Cleveland better be good this year. Better be good this year, because if not, then we're going to start to have some questions about Baker Mayfield in there. Speaking of the Steelers, James Harrison was on Barstool Sports, and he mentioned that he received an envelope from the Steelers head coach, Mike Tomlin. And this was supposedly to cover a fine that he received from the NFL back in 2010. He had a hit against the Cleveland Browns, and he was fined $75,000. I don't think he was flagged on the play, but he got fined $75,000. And he said that he got this envelope from Mike Tomlin, and we're led to believe that was to cover the fine. Here's James Harrison talking about that.
The most you've ever been fined in one game?
One game was 75.
Ooh, is that the Massaquoi hit?
Yeah, dude. How you gonna find me setting for dude? Oh, listen. Everything I love on my daddy's grave, I hit that man with about max 50% of what I had, and I just hit him because I wanted him to let loose of the ball. If I had knew they was gonna find me 75,000, I would have tried to kill him. Dude, I'm telling you.
Right.
75? I ain't gonna lie to you. But that happened, right? And the G'est thing Mike Tomlin ever did, he handed me an envelope after that. I ain't gonna say what, but he handed me an envelope after that.
Okay, wait. You're going to tell me he handed you an envelope, but you don't want to tell me what's in the envelope. No. You've already pushed the envelope there, James. And I wanted to hear the context of it, because when you see it in print, you go, sounds like that's not a bounty as much as it is paying a fine. And Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints certainly has to be interested in this. He lost $6 million. He lost an entire season because of Bountygate. When those players were, later vindicated, Sean still lost $6 million. They didn't pay him back. And he thinks that there's some stuff going on there. Sean Payton was asked about the James Harrison remarks. He said, I'd be shocked. That'd be something that's tucked away under the rug at Park Avenue. They'll look into it briefly. Listen, don't get me started on that. I lost $6 million in salary, and honestly, it was something that I'll never truly get over, because I know how it was handled and how it was run and the reasons behind it. That's just the truth. All righty. Well, the Steelers have come out to say that absolutely didn't happen. James Harrison's agent says, absolutely not, never happened. I would have known that. It didn't happen. Maybe James Harrison doesn't tell his agent. I wouldn't tell anybody, including Barstool Sports, because now Mike Tomlin has to answer to this. And, sometimes you get on these shows and people get loose and you're having fun and you say something and you go, well, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess I could see where people might be upset about that or take that differently. James Harrison is saying that his coach paid his fine, or the team paid his fine. Now, he says, I'm not going to say what's in the envelope, but if you're telling me it cost you $75,000, and then you're going to tell me about Mike Tomlin, if it's not money related, then what could it be related to? And maybe Harrison's just having some fun here. But you put the Steelers and your former head coach in a really bad light here. And if I'm the NFL, I got to look into this. I got to find out about it. Got to be fair to the New Orleans Saints here. You got to be fair to the New England Patriots here. You got to explore it. Hey, somebody's letting, air out of a football, or somebody's trying to knock somebody out, and your coach is going to cover your fine. You got to explore it. Got to investigate. Now, James Harrison doesn't have to talk to anybody. He's not in the game anymore. Mike Tomlin does. Ownership has to. Yeah, Paul.
So it's not a bounty, so it's different than the Saints, but I'm sure it's illegal for a team to pay a player's fine.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's some IRS implications here. So you can't hand someone a check $75,000. Trust me.
Is this like Al Capone? They're going to get him for income tax evasion? Yeah. We finally nailed James Harrison.
Can you imagine James Harrison out in the yard, it's all swole, and what are you in here for? Coach Tomlin paid my fine.
Income tax evasion. You got to investigate it. James Harrison has shined the light on this and said, here it is. This is what happened. And I'm wondering if James Harrison might look at this and say, that's why Mike Tomlin's a great coach, because he had my back. And while I understand that, he doesn't realize this put Mike Tomlin in a bad light, bad situation. Because now you got to answer. And if James Harrison doesn't want to meet with the commissioner, Mike Tomlin's still employed here. And I don't think the commissioner would. I don't think he would treat this too kindly if he knew that this was a possibility, that the team is paying for a fine with a hit to the head of a wide receiver. Now, but I do understand why Sean Payton would be upset, because everybody was exonerated there. But Sean still lost an entire season, his salary of $6 million. All right, we'll take a break. We'll get to your phone calls coming up. Chris Sims will join us in the final hour. We'll get his thoughts on this, plus the Russell Wilson rumor. Were the Seahawks really thinking of trading him? And Cleveland wasn't the only possible destination. There was also the rumor that he wanted to get closer to New York so his wife, Sierra, could be more involved in the entertainment world. And maybe the New York Giants were going to be that destination. But that'll be coming up in about a half hour from now. Back with your phone calls right after this. The Danettes have a pitch for you.
Yeah.
Paulie, this was one of the biggest reasons why we came to Los Angeles this week, aside from me doing Sports Jeopardy. Yeah. But Paulie said, we have to get to Los Angeles. This can't wait any longer. So,
now, Dan,
Paulie?
we, on behalf of all the Danettes, this is all our idea. Now, Mr. Michaels, we love having you on the show. You know how much we admire you. We always think you're the most interesting man on earth. Whatever that guy is for Dos Equis, he's an amateur. Now, we've always had an idea for an actual TV show called Steak Night in Almerica,
right?
Which is going to be awesome whenever it happens if you decide to do it. Now, I know you're a busy man. It's going to be hard to get you.
I have to eat dinner every night. So far that I like this idea.
All you do is sit there and eat steak and talk, and there'll be cameras, and it's really easy, and you get paid a bunch of money. What do you like? You like that so far?
I'm all in. I'll leave the tip. So that's yeah. I mean, you got a pop in for Craig's with Rich. I understand that.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me the other night, which you didn't.
You weren't there.
But I know I was. I was in. Well, but I would have stayed.
But I don't want to make you feel guilty by inviting you and you're not there.
Can I invite you maybe to Toscana?
That's your restaurant, right?
That's of course it is. Yeah, we've talked about that. And if you're going to get a pop in for Craig's, we're going to get one in for Toscana.
Absolutely.
Right now.
So it sounds like you're interested in this TV show.
Very.
Second part of our dream as Danettes, we've always wanted to go out to a steak dinner with you. And again, you're a busy man. It's hard to pull off. Well, today we've solved both problems. To sweeten the deal, guys, bring it in. It is Steak Night in Almerica for breakfast. We have had your steak dinner that you have at Toscana.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's cooked.
How great is this?
And ready to go.
Wow.
So if you guys want to go up there, Al, you want to take your seat up there.
Do I get up here? Well, what the hell is this?
This is your.
Did we bring everything that you need?
This is like perfect. This is perfect.
We've been working on this for weeks. We have your exact order.
Yes.
But this is what I'm going to have tonight.
It's okay.
Well, it's fine. You can have it twice.
Oh, this is fantastic.
And we got Chef Hugo.
Oh, my God. Look at this.
See?
Oh.
Steak night in America.
We got, look at that.
Oh, my God.
Steak. Oh, my God.
See, this is it.
Okay, Al.
Is that
Can I
is
take
that a veal chop?
And the T-bone.
Oh, my God.
Al, can I have each Danette take a turn sitting there at the table with you?
Of course.
Okay.
Do you want me to get up here and
Yes,
sit?
you can sit there, and you got your steak dinner.
Okay, great.
Now, these are the people from your restaurant who brought this in.
Of course it is. Oh, my boys are over
Yes.
here. Look at this.
Yes.
This is the best.
When did you know your dad was famous?
Well, I mean, there's different degrees. You know, I always sort of laugh because everyone goes like, what's it like being related to a national treasure? I'm like, well, he wasn't really much of a national treasure, you know, during the bosom buddy days or Turner and Hooch or anything like that. So, you know, I think there's varying degrees. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's just sort of, there's certain like pre-eras and post-eras.
But did people make fun of your dad when he was dressing as a woman in Bosom
Not
Buddies?
really, no, not really. I think everyone was just sort of like, oh yeah, that's what he does. And I went, yeah, apparently.
But there had to be this moment where all of a sudden he became the Jimmy Stewart of, you know, today's.
Well, yeah, I mean, around the time of like Philadelphia and Forrest Gump, it became a totally different animal.
Did people treat you differently?
Yeah, to a degree, but I sort of ignore those people.
Okay.
I tend to not really sort of, I try to just sort of zone those people out a little bit because it's, you know, you could spend so much time and energy obsessing about that kind of stuff and you'll still be in the exact same place. You know, it won't move you. It doesn't move the needle. It won't move you any further. So I just kind of zone out when it comes to that.
What was the guest list like at your wedding?
It was great. I had Mike Beck there and Jake Bergman and PJ Knockman and
all the big
Sean
names.
Stewart, all the big names, all the big names. The wedding was a little surreal. But I have also sort of known these people that are friends of my parents for a long time. So I was sort of like, I guess I got to invite some of your friends too. And they're like, yep, absolutely. So I do have this one really great memory of Bruce Springsteen was walking, and I was sitting in this sort of like seat where I had like it was like we were in like a tent, so I couldn't see past a certain area on the left or right. And Bruce Springsteen is sort of walking, and when he's not on stage, he kind of walks slow, and he just is sort of walking, and I'm like looking at him, I'm like, wow. As Bruce Springsteen walking really slow, and he stops, turns, points at me, and then keeps walking. And everyone around me was just like, "Oh my God!"
When are they doing the David Bowie movie? Because you had Queen with Freddie Mercury, and then we had Elton John. I have to believe David Bowie would be next. Trying to think who else we would have these biopics. McLevin, have you heard anything on the David Bowie biopic?
I was just looking. I think you rang a bell that they're working on it. They had a movie called Velvet Goldmine by Todd Haynes. It was about David Bowie and Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
But they were fictionalized. Remember with Ewan McGregor?
Yeah, Paul.
There's a David Bowie movie called Stardust, which is done and completed, and it was supposed to be leaked out, come out at the Tribeca Film Festival last month. Because of what's going on now, everything's kind of on hold, but it is complete and ready to go. It's
Who
about
played Bowie?
I don't know. I think the guy's name is Johnny Flynn.
Oh,
not the former guard for Syracuse.
No, I didn't think Johnny Flynn.
Who was a great basketball player, but I don't know what kind of singer he was.
Johnny Flynn. Okay. Time for the Discover Card moment of the week as we take you back to Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Vrabel joining us, where he told us the story about Tom Brady. I wanted to ask you, and you told this a couple of years ago, that I think you made the mistake of saying to Tom in the huddle that you were open.
I'd gone out for a run. I'd been over on offense for like a week. And so they throw me in there and I run this route. I'm in the back of the end zone. I'm like, Tom. And I come back in the huddle and I was like, I was wide open. He goes, Mikey, if you ever raise your hands at me again, I'll never throw you the ball. He's like, I'm the quarterback. I know who's effing open. I was like, well said. I got the point.
That's Mike Vrabel, our Discover Card moment of the week. Get your free credit scorecard today, even if you're not a Discover customer. It includes your FICO credit score. Checking your scorecard won't hurt your credit. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. Win in North Carolina. Hey, Win, what's on your mind today?
Well, happy birthday, Dan. I hope you have many, many more. I have two things for you. My wife and I walk on UNC campus every day, and we saw Mac Brown a couple days ago, and I asked him, about the season, and he says they're planning to have a full season. UNC is going to be open in the fall. The students are coming back, et cetera. So I think that might be some ACC breaking news for you, Dan.
Well, thank you, Win. I need a second source there.
Secondly, Dan, my wife and I have been binge watching Bosch since you recommended it, and I got a feeling that I can't let go. But anyway, I want to recommend something for you to watch. Okay. You say that you have loved the soccer documentary on the Bundesliga. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but there's a great 6-part series that Julian Fellows did, the Downton Abbey guy. It's called The English League. It's on PBS, and it's about the origins of modern soccer. It dates back to the 1880s when two Scottish guys were brought in by an English team in England, and it changed the whole game forever. And I think you'd really enjoy that.
Well, I watched the documentary on Sunderland. Thank you, Win. Sunderland Till I Die, which was really well done. And I know I don't need to say it, probably shouldn't say it. You don't have to be a soccer fan to enjoy it because it's really about relationships, and what a team means to a town. Because you can watch this and you can say, boy, we really are invested in our teams. We love our teams, especially with college football. We love our college football team. Watch this documentary and you'll understand what a team truly means to a team or to a city. That's why it's called Sunderland Till I Die. But the passion that they have for that soccer team, and it's probably not different from a lot of these other soccer teams, but the importance of that team to that town, you cannot overstate it. And I think that's what really comes out in it. It's really well done. There are a lot of sports documentaries. I encourage people, if you haven't seen Hoop Dreams, watch Hoop Dreams. That's 1994. And it's as well done as any documentary, not sports documentary. That was a movie where you're watching. And when you watch The Wire, as well done as that is, you can watch it and go, I almost feel like I'm watching a documentary. You're watching Hoop Dreams and you realize that is a documentary. The Wire is based off of something. Hoop Dreams is based off of Hoop Dreams. The inner city, the struggle, parents involved. I mean, it's still powerful. Still rings true. Final hour coming up. More phone calls. Oh, it's a Meat Friday. It's a Traeger Meat Friday. I got to go check on the chicken on the Traeger. It's teriyaki chicken, I think, today. Got to go check on that. We'll be back. Final hour in this Meat Friday right after this. Now, you're East Coast guy, but what do you get walking the streets? What do people say to you?
Well, you keep moving. I don't wait for too much for reaction. Just depends.
What if
if
they yell
love
out the window?
If they
What-
love her, hey, Mike. You know, I mean, I get a lot. You know, because if you keep moving and keep walking, that's the secret. Don't stop.
Okay.
Because then you can hear afterwards, and they go, Mike. They yell you down and all that. Greed is good, huh? That's probably the one I get more than anything else.
But when you saw that line in the script, did it resonate with you that what greed is good was going to mean to Gordon Gekko and Wall Street? And
No, that whole part was. I mean, I was the bad guy. I was the villain. It's always shocked me how many people on Wall Street have said, "Oh man, you're the reason I became a stockbroker." And I said, I went to jail, man. I went to jail. Oh, no. It's all right, going on.
I didn't know. Like, we rooted for you, and I don't know why we rooted for you.
Because I had nice clothes. That's all it was, man. I had really nice clothes. I should thank my costume designer.
And a nice wife and a nice girlfriend, too.
Exactly.
You had it all.
So I had it all, and I had money, and I lied, and I cheated, and then that was it. So it's always made me a little disturbed that people just love that character as much as they did.
But Kevin Costner talked about Field of Dreams, where he said that line, "Do you want to have a catch?" with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I saw that and realized that the movie is built around that line. And I was wondering about that with Wall Street. It feels like greed is good. The movie's built around that line, whether that was by design or not, it feels like.
Yeah, but it was Oliver Stone wrote a great screenplay, a great script, and Gordon Gekko had a lot to say in it. And Greed is Good was a line inside of a very long monologue that he gave at a shareholders meeting, which he incorporated the U.S. of A. and a lot of other things. And so, yeah, but it did end up standing out, and that was the clip of that speech they tended to use more than any other.
But when you see that character and the hair and the way you look, and as rumor has it, that it was based off Pat Riley.
No, Pat is a dear friend of mine.
But it wasn't based off Riley's look? Or did Riley base his look off you?
No, I was looking at, it was the last decision. No, the wardrobe and all was tied in with a designer here in Wall Street and everything else. And the character's name was Gekko, and Pat and I was a close friend. And I looked at Pat's greased hair, and that was like the last decision. I got close and I said, yeah, I'm going to go for it. So I did steal it from Pat. And it was very effective.
The suspenders, the whole. Look at that guy right there. We got
That's
the picture
right.
in there.
But Pat doesn't wear suspenders.
No. Who is that guy right there when you look at him?
Well, it's a character. You make
But
him
that
up
time
from
of
a combination.
in your life.
There were two or three which will go unnamed big time players on Wall Street that I incorporated some of their elements, having met some of them, and then you know what your role is in the part, and you try to personify and create this Gordon Gekko.
Buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
If you said I can have football right now and they pump in crowd noise, I'm fine with that.
A labor of love for Dan Patrick.
And to be able to do that is rewarding.
That is, unless he's completely faking the whole thing.
I'd rather have no crowd noise, but if you said, hey, you got football coming back, and they're going to have some fake noise, I will get over it.
Dan Patrick.
As a journalist, I'm very, very much against fake crowd noise, fake fans. Let's embrace what this is.
Interesting take, Paulie. Considering for years you've condoned Seaton's fake laughter.
The only truth is everybody is lying.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Final hour on this Traeger Meat Friday. I went out there, checked on the teriyaki chicken, got the street corn, got a fire going. Yep, just another Friday here with my good friends, Paulie, Alan, Marvin, Rob, Big German, Tyler the moderator, and Dylan. We got the local fire department coming by. Going to treat them to some chicken. Since some of the Danettes aren't here, I wanted to bring in some new friends. So we'll bring in the fire department. We're situated right next to a fire department. And every time we cook on Friday, you can see the firemen usually come out, and then they're like leaning over, waiting to get that invitation there. But, rations, we got portions that we have to ration here. We got other people in the back that need to eat. And we have a standing policy. On-air talent gets to eat from 12 to 12:15. And then 12:15:01, I got the other guys who are ready. They come in from the bullpen. And there's a lot of teriyaki chicken to go around today.
12:15.
12:15:01. Remember when the French kid didn't realize the 12:15 rule?
That was conveniently he didn't realize it.
And I go out, and all of a sudden I see him stuffing his face, and I go, "Hey, Brendan, what are you doing?" He goes, "What?" Like his mouth's full. "What?" I said, "No, 12:15." And Paulie's motioning air quotes. He had air quotes. He goes, I didn't know about 12:15. So final hour here on this Traeger Meat Friday. And coming up, we'll talk to Chris Sims on loan from Pro Football Talk. A couple of things to talk to him about. James Harrison comments that Mike Tomlin apparently paid his fine for a hit that he had against the Cleveland Browns for $75,000. The Steelers have denied that. And we'll talk about this Russell Wilson rumor. Would you rather that it was proven that it wasn't true, or would you rather just stayed out there as a rumor? Because it feels like people in my industry, when we have something like this, we can go, hey, I can run with that for a while. Hey, who needs two sources? I don't even need one source on this. So we'll talk to Chris Sims about this rumor and how this rumor started. Blake Snell started off our show today where we played some of his comments. He was on Instagram Live. And he's the Rays pitcher. He's a really good pitcher. Cy Young winner. And he was talking about, hey, they're cut our salaries in half. Now they want us to come back. It's not worth the risk of what I'm going to make. And this is a portion of what Blake Snell had to say about baseball coming back.
If I'm going to play, I should be getting the money I signed to be getting paid. I should not be getting half of what I'm getting paid because the season's cut in half, on top of a 33% cut of the half that's already there. On top of that, it's getting taxed. So imagine how much I'm actually making to play. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I mean, those are his comments. He's going to stand by that. He's the first so-called name to come out and attach himself to this. Bryce Harper and Nolan Arenado did come out and say that they support Blake Snell. I don't know if they agree with him as much as they support him. There's a difference in that. We talked to Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers pitcher, in the first hour. He had this to say about Blake Snell's comments.
It was probably a little bold in what he said, but, I think where he's coming from, we've already made a pay concession. We're going to get paid prorated based on the season. So we play 81 games where we get half our pay. We agreed to that already. And I know guys kind of felt like that was what we decided, as a union. And, obviously with no fans changes things, I guess, for some owners, but we're still playing the same game. We're still playing baseball. We still agreed to our salaries based on that. So all I can say about everything is if it deems medically that we're able to play and we can't figure out the business side of it between the two sides, it's not going to look good on anybody.
Yeah.
So if we do figure out medically, I'm pretty optimistic that we can play.
You've got guys who are making the minimum of $500,000. Then you've got players who are making $35-40 million here. And you're going to have the haves and the have-nots here. And then you're going to say, are you willing to come back? Would you come back for that? Hey, would you come back for $100,000? We look at this, and I'm talking about the audience, the fans, and say, how much is enough for you to come back? Well, if Blake Snell says, I don't want to come back because I don't want to risk my health, then I stand with him. But if this sounds like it's about money. It's not about, hey, I'm worried about my health here. I'm worried about my health if I'm coming back for that amount of money. But if you pay me my full salary, suddenly I'm not as worried about my health. That's the problem of how people are going to read into this. He has every right to say, I don't want to play, I don't feel safe. But if your players' union, if Major League Baseball, if the medical community deems this safe, and I should put that in air quotes, safe, now what happens if Blake Snell and some other players decide they don't want to come back? You're not going to get paid. So now what happens? Can you sit out? Will baseball let you sit out? Man, I just think that there's a lot more to this in trying to get these players back. I'm just disappointed it's played out in the media because it never looks good when millionaires and billionaires are arguing about money. Never. And especially today with what's going on, with the fans looking at this going, we need you to come back. And you're saying, hey, I don't want to come back for 1.5 million, but I'll come back for $3 million. Here is the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, on how to make this safe to play for players.
We are making plans about playing in empty stadiums. But as I've said before, all of those plans are dependent on what the public health situation is and us reaching the conclusion that it'll be safe for our players and other employees to come back to work.
All right. I don't know what the plan is, and hopefully they keep it private until they feel like they're ready to roll this out. The commissioner of the NBA and Major League Baseball commissioner have been kind of quiet and probably sequestered where they're trying to come up with different contingency plans, and I'm all for that. I don't need to hear from you until I feel like you have a definitive plan in place and everybody's going to be safe. Instead of saying, hey, May 1st, we're coming back. May 8th, we're coming back, which is what the NBA did. And at the time I said, stop giving us arbitrary dates. When you come back, you're back. You don't need to tell us anything other than tell your players, let everybody know this is when it's going to be safe. This is when we have adequate testing. That's all I need with this. And we should be satisfied with this. Instead of somebody saying, hey, we're playing football in the fall. Okay, I hope you are, but you don't know that. And it sounds disingenuous to say, we're playing football. Students are going to be on campus. I hope so. We just don't know that that's true or not. All right, let's get some phone calls in here. Steve in Pennsylvania. Hi, Steve. What do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Say what's up to all the Danettes. Hope you guys are all doing well. Been obviously in quarantine. I watched the '98 World Series the other day. Just wanted to ask you, past 20 years, who you think the best MLB team was. And I don't know if you know who Braun Strowman is, WWE superstar. There's a clip of him raking softballs off a tee. And just want to know if you saw that or not. Thank you, everyone.
I did. Thank you, Steve. I did not. I'm not that desperate yet that I'm watching wrestlers rake softballs off a tee. But, hey, it's early on this Friday, so who knows what the weekend's going to be like. It may get crazy around my house. It may not. It may be really quiet. The best baseball team in the last 20. I'd have to give that thought. I'd have to be on that topic to give it some thought there. Let me see. What else do we have? Barry in South Dakota. Hi, Barry. What do you have?
I'm on my way. Hello, Dan. How are you?
Hi. Good to talk to you, Barry.
And it's Perry. No B, it's a P.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. I'm older than you, so I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday and give you a little unsolicited advice. As I got older, I started thinking of it as chronologically gifted, whereas the young ones are chronologically challenged. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Perry, for that. I'm chronologically challenged, apparently. But thank
Funny
you.
line there from Terry.
Yeah. Is it Perry or Terry?
Or Barry.
Forget it.
Is it Larry?
Forget it. He's rolling.
Larry. Hey, Terry.
By the way, you got about a half hour to vote on Chat Row T-shirt, and I'm making the T-shirt. If you go to the website, the one that has our house dog Penny on it, the big German's dog Penny, I'm going to make that T-shirt. Whether that's the one you choose, I'm making that T-shirt. But you guys vote on Chat Row. This is our locker room where they provide the heartbeat of the show. And Tyler, the moderator. I had this idea, and I mentioned this to Seton. Tyler, the moderator, his job he moderates the Chat Row with some of the comments that are made. And I thought maybe we have sort of an emoji, something that like Tyler is Dikembe Mutombo when he wants to, take away some comments, and then he's like, "Not in my house."
When he's swatting.
Yeah, when he's swatting somebody. He walks around with his laptop, and so he's got his mask on and his laptop, and Tyler, the moderator, is taking care of Chat Row. But I thought when he comes in, he swoops in and says, "Not in my house."
And every once in a while, you just hear him go, "Gone, gone." Like he's just deleting people.
Let me see. Javier in Arizona. Javier?
Hey, Dan.
Hey there.
Hey, first time, long time, 6'2", 205. Hey, just want to wish you a happy birthday. Fellow May birthday. My birthday's coming up in 2 weeks as well. But I want to talk about, you said Jordan pushing off on Byron Russell.
Yeah.
I think it was more of a crossover.
Well, it was a crossover. I'm being objective. That's all. In what I saw, you see Michael's hands, and he pushes Russell to the side. Do you call it in that moment? I know we love to say, hey, if you're going to call it then you have to call it, whatever you call in the first quarter, you got to call in the fourth quarter. It doesn't work out that way, folks. As much as we want it to be that way, you got to call it the same at both ends. Both times, first half, second half. It doesn't happen that way. Jordan push off? Yes. Do you want to call it in that moment? Even in Salt Lake City, you didn't call it. In Chicago, it's not getting called. In Salt Lake, that's different. That would have been fun. Edwin in South Carolina. Hi, Edwin.
Hey, Dan. Edwin, 6 feet, 185. Just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. It's my birthday as well today, my Kobe year.
Awesome. Happy birthday, Edwin.
Thank you. I heard one of the Danettes took Teddy Bridgewater as their dark horse for MVP. Just wanted to get your opinion on that. I'm a big Panthers fan.
That's not going to happen, Edwin. He's not going to be the MVP. But we like Teddy. I just don't like Carolina's chances to be good this year. Yeah, McLevin.
Joe Brady, you see what he did at LSU. If he can do that in the pros, come on.
I don't know who. LSU might have been as good as Carolina.
Yeah, the receivers are way better at LSU. You're right.
Yeah. You will get a plaque. I might even build a statue. You know what? I would erect a statue. If Teddy Bridgewater's MVP, McLevin, I will have a statue of you here in the man cave.
I totally stole Teddy Bridgewater from you because you were always bullish on Teddy Bridgewater.
Well, I love Teddy.
Even, but 3
not,
years ago, you're like, he could be a good starter, and you were right.
But not MVP.
But it's always a quarterback out of nowhere.
Oh, that would be out of nowhere.
He got a $65 million contract.
I know, but you have to look at this and look at it like it's a word problem. What division? What are the expectations? How many wins could we conceivably have? He's not even going to get the credit. It'll be Christian McCaffrey. So you're on a team where the running back is the face of the franchise. And that's why I think it would be, if Teddy Bridgewater's the MVP, it'd be great. The fact that Christian McCaffrey has the same odds as Jameis Winston, to me, is mind-boggling. Jameis Winston is third string, or maybe second string with the Saints, and Christian McCaffrey is coming off one of the great seasons a running back has ever had. Yeah, McLevin.
If Jameis wins, can we build a statue of Jameis on the basketball court? Like, that would be the biggest shock ever. Wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. If something happened to Drew Brees, but see, Sean Payton keeps telling us Taysom Hill is his quarterback in waiting. He keeps telling us that. And he can keep telling me that. I don't know if he's his quarterback in waiting. He's a tremendous talent, but I don't know if Taysom Hill is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I haven't seen enough where I go, yep. I saw a lot in college, and I didn't see enough in college where I went, he can be a starter in the NFL. Athletically, he can start in the NFL, but I don't know if he can start at quarterback there. Let me see. What else do we have here? George in Ohio. Hey, George.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
From the old hometown, Dan.
Well, I hope it's good. I haven't been back there in a while. Did they have my statue done yet there?
I'm just going to comment on that. We're working on. I went to high school with the mayor, but he went to high school with Mark D'Antonio, so D'Antonio might have a slight edge.
Oh, who's had a better career, me or Mark D'Antonio?
Well, I was proud of what Mark did, but I'm just hoping he would do a little better. You've done pretty well. You have an Emmy. That's pretty good.
Thank you, George. I appreciate that. Calling from my
little
hometown.
I wanted to comment on one of the earlier polls.
Okay.
I think it was, would you go to work or leave your family?
Yeah.
To go to a job. Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you, George.
I'm 65 and a half, so I'm going to be retiring here probably in the next year. And I have an essential job, so I got to go. But if I had the luxury of the athletes, baseball, basketball, football, where I could stay home, I think that's what I would do, because it seems like today it's not just a game is like a game of life and death, really. That's the kind of a game it is now. So.
Well, they're not forcing them back until everybody signs off on this. Thank you, George. Thank you, and good luck getting my statue there in my hometown. Nobody's forcing you to go back yet. Like they're not. They can't force you to go back until everybody signs off on this. And hopefully everybody can come to the same conclusion that these players are not in danger, or those odds are greatly, greatly reduced. And as long as they continue to do the right things, follow protocol, then great. Then we can have, sports come back. David in Houston joining us. Hi, David.
DP, hey, huge fan here. Loving the Jordan Last Dance. And I was doing a deep dive on YouTube the other day and ran across a video of you interviewing Jordan after game one of the 97 finals after he hit the game winner. And I recommend you go back and look at it. It's hilarious. You were smitten with Jordan. You guys had a connection there, a little bit of flirting going on.
Yeah, I challenged him and he allowed me to challenge him. And I always respected that he came in and I knew that he was open to talking. And I could push him a little bit and have some fun with respect. But yeah, I always enjoyed those interviews because I was trying to show a side of Jordan that you hadn't seen. And I think in large part, we were able to do it. Gave him the platform to have a little bit of fun, to have some comments there. Because you go to a press conference, it's very sterile when you go to that press conference. You go in right after the game, and you got everybody there, and if you want to get something from somebody, you're usually asking a one-on-one question. There's more of the intimacy there. And I always thought that Jordan, and he's also a competitor, and I tried to use that against him, or at least to my advantage of, I want him to want to be great when he's on SportsCenter. That was always my approach with Mike. I wanted him to be great because everything about him was a challenge. He wanted to be challenged. Everything was a competition. And I always felt that Michael never wanted to go in and mail it in. And hopefully that, I'm disappointed that wasn't in the documentary because I do think that people would have gotten to see a little bit more of that personality of Jordan. And maybe that softer side, that guy who has a good sense of humor. And, for whatever reason, they decided not to use it. But I was hoping they would have just, and Jordan would have wanted to have that in there as well. More phone calls coming up. We'll talk to Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk. Take a break here, and it's 20 after the hour here on this Traeger Meat Friday. Back after this. You check things all the time, like your email, your Instagram. Check something important. Check something important like your credit. Discover makes it quick and easy. Best of all, it's free. Discover's now offering FICO credit scores. It's a score used by 90% of top lenders, and they're doing that for free, even if you're not a customer. Checking your score doesn't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes there. It's called the Discover Credit Scorecard. It's free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
Is this cooked?
Paulie?
Oh, of course.
Al, you have to invite one of the Danettes over.
Paulie.
Okay.
I mean, Paulie is like we started out.
Okay, well, yeah. How about that?
This is perfect. You want me here or there? Where do you want me?
I'm there.
Okay.
Oh, now we're talking.
By the way, you do understand that we have the Toscana cookbook here, and they asked me on the 25th anniversary to, I'm mic'd, right?
Yeah, you
They
are.
asked me on the 25th anniversary to do the forward. So how many guys in the history of the world have done a forward to a cookbook having never eaten a vegetable?
I know.
Right?
There's nothing green on Al's plate.
Well, not only that, you see, people say green. Forget green. We're talking
Vegetables.
about mushrooms, onions.
Yeah.
That's in the same category.
So we have potatoes and steak
This
there.
is great.
Cheers, Mr. Michaels.
Hey.
Al's
L'chaim and aloha and all that.
I got, Paulie.
This is as close to crying since my kids were born. I've never been this happy in my life.
This is unbelievable.
Paulie never gets emotional. He's emotional.
This is great. You need sauce right now?
Perfect right now.
Great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But Mark, where's Mark? He's sleeping, right?
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
How great is that, though?
This is
These guys
fantastic.
came out.
And
The
by the way,
Danettes
this is
set
great.
it up. Yes, they set it up. So we just wanted to, if we couldn't join you.
This is great.
Yeah. Breakfast?
Perfect.
Perfect breakfast. Gents?
This is the breakfast. Breakfast of champions. Breakfast
stay
of
there.
champions. Where's Fritzy? Come on, Fritzy's always calling me.
Go ahead.
Get over here.
Go ahead.
Come on.
I want everybody to at least sit down. Say they sat down with Al and had a steak dinner.
Check.
They cook it just right for you. You're all set.
You okay with Paulie's silverware?
We could work with that.
Man,
We could
does
work
that
with
steak look good?
Yeah.
We could work with that.
The whole group.
So Paulie, you can hold up the cookbook there, since these guys kind enough to come in
Right
here.
here? Here we
Toscana.
go.
Yeah. Let them see the cover here of Toscana.
How great is this?
Look at that.
This is fantastic.
There. Yeah.
Anything else, Mr. Michaels?
No, sir. This is great. So we're going to make this, what, a daily show?
Whatever you like.
Nightly?
But imagine
following you.
if
Whatever
you
you do.
go to these NFL cities, Al. Let's say you go to Seattle, go to a steak house there. You sit down with Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson. You have dinner with them, and
Perfect.
you talk about steaks. And it's called Steak Night in Almerica.
Steak night in Almerica.
Steak night in Almerica.
Sold.
That'll be your greatest gig ever.
Well done.
Sold. This is. I love this idea.
Al, I'm going to continue to do the show. I'll let you
are?
finish your meal.
This is fantastic.
And Paulie.
I officially believe in miracles.
What's better than this? And by the way, how's this playing on radio right now?
You know what? But if I'm telling people, just imagine the best steak you've ever seen.
This is so good.
And and they're listening to you eat steak. Nice bottle of red wine.
Yeah, what are we drinking there?
Yeah, Fritzy's there with you.
I didn't realize how good steak could taste at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is phenomenal.
All right, we'll come back. We'll resume
Guys,
our
this
regularly
is the best.
scheduled program, and we say thank you to the great Al Michaels who joined us here in the Man Cave. This is the Dan Patrick Show. My thanks to Toscano. Thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate it. Thank you.
see
We'll be
you
back
tonight.
after that. All right. See, Tyler ruined it because he told Penny about the COOKIE. And usually on your birthday, you get gifts, but on my birthday, I like to give gifts. And then I got Penny, Alavodka, come here. I know. Good girl. Yes. You know what? And I'm going to get a t-shirt for you, and I'm going to have you wear it, and it's a tribute to the chat row. Okay? Now here we go. Yeah, well, wait a minute. That almost took my hand. Come on in. Ready? Come here. that's not good. Come here. Got one more. Slow down. Slow down. Easy. Slow down. Good girl. Good girl. Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Time to go lie down. See you tomorrow. Alrighty, it's a Meat Friday. This Saturday, Traeger Day. Nationally, it's National Traeger Day. Traeger Grills, they want to celebrate with wood-fired flavor and hope you'll enjoy the feast and join them offering 20% off rubs, sauces, liners from May 15th through May 17th. Contact your local dealer. Head to TraegerGrills.com/DP show to get cooking. He's the pot stir. He's Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live co-host, former NFL quarterback, and Chris joins us now. You know, lo and behold, I start to, go to Pro Football Talk and read down some stories, and then I go, wait, what's this Russell Wilson rumor? And did the rumor start with you, Chris, that the Seahawks were entertaining the idea of trading him to the Cleveland Browns 2 years ago?
Well, I do believe it started with me, or, I don't know if it started with me. And again, listen, this is something that I know. This is not a rumor. This is something that I found out about, I'm going to say not long after the 2018 NFL draft from some people close to the situation, and then had it confirmed on the other side by the other team involved in it, to where, I've made a mention of this during last season, Dan, and it got no traction. I was like, damn, I just let out some breaking news and nobody said anything. And then it just came out organically again here this past week. We were talking about untradeable players and what we call PFT-OT with Mike Florio. And, we went, Russell Wilson is one of those untradeable players. And I brought it up again. And I said, hey, the rumors that are out there are the things that I understand. I shouldn't say rumor. What I know is that, yes, there was talks a little bit between Cleveland and Seattle, and Cleveland giving that first pick of the draft for Russell Wilson. I don't know who struck up the conversation. I would imagine it was Seattle. I mean, it makes sense. Again, Seattle, they were debating on, did they want to make Russell Wilson the highest paid player in football? And I think also added to that, hey, they have an incentive to build the team the way they did originally with Russell Wilson. They saw, hey, if we can get a quarterback on a rookie contract and build it through our running game and our defense, that was successful then one time around already before. So I just think, it was something that was thrown out there. I don't know how serious it ever got, but I do know that was a very real conversation.
And I understand the philosophy behind the Seahawks, and I agree with you. I mentioned that if you can start over again at that position and build your team like they did when they had the Legion of Boom, that makes a lot of sense. The biggest question I have is, who was Seattle going to take with that number 1 overall pick, Chris?
I don't know this for sure, okay? Like but I've been led to believe it was Josh Allen. That's what I was led to believe, that Seattle had their eye on that, which makes sense too, because he has a little of that Russell Wilson-ish quality, right? Where, hey, obviously it's a little raw still with Josh Allen, but got some big-time ability. And I think they probably looked at it like, hey, we can get this guy to hand the ball off, take a few deep shots down the field. He'll scramble and make a few plays every now and then. So that makes sense. But I can't confirm that aspect of it, Dan. I don't know that for sure.
I think Russell Wilson ends his career with another team. What do you think?
I wouldn't be shocked. I think that's a very real possibility. Especially, if Pete Carroll and John Schneider are still there, I mean, to the point that you made just a minute ago, I think they have a true belief in that. And honestly, Dan, I'm not so sure the NFL is not going to go this way a little bit anyways. Who are the Rams negotiating against to give Jared Goff $33.5 million? Or some of these other contracts that are being thrown out there. They're negotiating against themselves. And with the influx of talent we see at the quarterback position every year now, and football being so popular for so long, and our best athletes want to play quarterback, I would think at some point the quarterback market is going to come down to reality a little bit. To me, it's gotten crazy. Some of these quarterbacks are making 8 and 9 times more money than some of the best players that are also on their team. And I wanted to say, Jared Goff is not 8 times better than, Robert Woods, who plays wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I never understood that. The next guy up doesn't deserve to be the how did the owners finally got around to saying we're not going to give guaranteed money to, first round draft picks. We'd give $50 million to Sam Bradford, who hadn't proven himself. To me, it was crazy. They finally, got slotted and, made some sense here. At what point do the owners just say, we're not, now I know that sounds collusion, probably is, but we're just not paying the next man up. He's not going to be the highest paid quarterback in the game.
That I agree. I have this conversation with my coach friends all the time, Dan, and I think they do. They look at owners and, some GMs a little bit to go like, hey, at what point are we going to draw a line in the sand? Like nobody on the edge of a deal, or nobody should, the next guy up, right? Let's just say with Aaron Donald. Like, I don't care if he's the next guy up and he's really good. Nobody's as good as Aaron Donald. So nobody should be paid more than that on the defensive side of the ball until they can claim they're better than Aaron Donald. And that's the same thing on the offensive side of the ball. I know it's going to be Patrick Mahomes here soon at some point, but like to me, hey, Dak Prescott, I love Dak Prescott. Carson Wentz, hey, I love him too. But like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson should be the market setters, and nobody gets paid more than those two at the position until you prove that you're better than them. And Deshaun Watson and Mahomes are very close to doing that, or Mahomes already has, and they will get paid. But to me, those are the only guys that should jump them.
But that's part of the problem with Dak Prescott's negotiations here is, hey, what we want to get paid, and we don't want to sign a deal where we're going to be embarrassed by what Deshaun Watson gets and Patrick Mahomes gets. And he's not in Patrick Mahomes' category, and you can make the argument he's not in Deshaun Watson's category.
Agreed.
But if you keep saying, hey, I want to be the next guy up, but don't embarrass me when all of a sudden these other guys get their contracts here. I'm also curious what happens to the quarterback after Patrick Mahomes. What is he asking for?
Well, exactly right. I think Mahomes has a chance to kind of blow the market, into another stratosphere to where that might happen, like to what you're talking about. That next guy up, I think there might be a line drawn in the sand that finally says, no, like, let's get real. You're not Patrick Mahomes, whoever you are, and we're not going to pay you that much money. I'm with you, because what are we going to do? Start getting into like $45-48 million a year for the quarterback position here in the next 2 years? Because I would expect Mahomes gets something within the low 40s per year type average when he does sign.
We're talking to Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live, co-host the story with James Harrison, the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin. Did Mike Tomlin hand him an envelope full of money? Was it a check? Did he write out a check? Did he pay his fine when he hit the Cleveland Browns wide receiver here? Was he joking a little bit? I don't know. I don't know what to make of this, Chris, because he's put Mike Tomlin. Well, I think he's trying to compliment Mike Tomlin as being a player's coach, and he's got your back ultimately. He's put him in a pretty delicate situation here. What do you do if you're the NFL?
The NFL is in a tough spot here. There's no doubt about it. And I'm sure that they're going to probably try to take some action, I would think. I don't know what that would be. Some sort of fine on the Pittsburgh Steelers or maybe Mike Tomlin. But yeah, James Harrison, I agree with you. I think he was trying to show something positive about Mike Tomlin, and it backfired, and now it makes the Steelers and Mike Tomlin look not that good. Here's the simple reality of this situation. I don't give a damn. I'm glad. I hope Mike Tomlin did pay his fine. Who the hell cares? This has been going on in the NFL since the 80s. I was on teams where I saw this happen, not necessarily coaches paying, but players who were making a lot of big money. Oh, this guy got, a huge fine from the hit. And if the defensive guys thought, it wasn't that bad and we like to play that style, they'd pony up some money and help that guy out to pay that fine. So it's a very common thing for this to happen in the NFL. I mean, I know Joe Montana did it back with the Kansas City Chiefs with Neil Smith. I've heard him tell that story. So this is something that goes on. It's just the first time I think we've heard a head coach being implicated in it. And Mike Tomlin's in a tough spot here.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton would be really interested in what the NFL does.
Exactly. No doubt about it.
The Cam Newton phenomenon. I don't know if everybody has been this interested in Cam Newton for a long time, but it feels like every talk show host, every analyst somehow has this newfound love seeking out information for Cam Newton. Like we really, you know what it is though, and we know what's behind the curtain. It's like, this is a great talking point. Cam Newton's a great talking point. I don't know if people really care. If he doesn't go to the Patriots, I don't know if anybody really cares in our business about Cam Newton that way. If he goes to the Patriots, now we have talking points again for another couple of weeks. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. I don't know, and I don't think the New England Patriots is going to happen. I don't. I would be shocked. Just my history of knowing New England, being there, knowing Josh McDaniels, and playing for him in Denver. They're very big into, hey, we're framing our team in the offseason, and this is our quarterback, and we're framing the offense around him, and for him to be the leader of our football team and all those things, to where I just don't imagine them going down that road with Cam Newton and opening up that can of worms of Stidham versus Cam Newton and all those things. And also, I don't think New England's necessarily built for Cam Newton's skill set either. But I'm fascinated by Cam Newton too, because as we all know, right? I mean, when he's healthy, he's a special football player. And right now, it looks like he's going to be relegated to being a backup quarterback. And my big thing is, Dan, who the hell's going to even want to sign him as a backup quarterback? Because he's a threat.
Yeah.
There's only going to be certain quarterbacks that can handle Cam Newton looking over their shoulder every day in practice and everything like that. And I think that's truly like Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, maybe Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. They're going to be like, okay, yeah, I know you throw rifles all over the field. Look at my rifle. Zing, zing, zing. And they won't be threatened by it. But a lot of these quarterbacks, I think, Dan, this will be a huge issue, and it can disrupt your team, because when you walk off the field every day, players in the locker room are going to go, damn, did you see Cam Newton today? He looked a lot better than our starter. Maybe we should start him. And that will divide a locker room in a hurry. So that's really where it gets interesting.
Could you see Pittsburgh bring him in?
Dan, it's a name I've thrown out there many times. I think that is a correct marriage, because, I think we're getting down here to the end with Big Ben. I do. And the elbow thing would concern me. The way their backup quarterbacks played last year would concern me. And I think they're a team that's, a borderline Super Bowl caliber type football team. So you get Cam Newton in there for an insurance policy to Big Ben, let alone, hey, maybe this is Big Ben's last year, or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the reins get handed to Cam after that. Makes sense, but I don't know. Do you think Big Ben's one of those guys that can handle that? That would be a question for me.
He couldn't handle Mason Rudolph being drafted by them.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, it's great to talk to you as always. We appreciate your time. Thank you, Chris.
Hey, thank you. Happy birthday,
Thank
Dan.
you,
I didn't
bud.
get to talk about it. I don't know how old you are. And how dare Todd wears a Texas A&M T-shirt when I come on? I mean, what the hell is that?
That was
What the
completely
hell is
unintentional. That was a little
Fritzy?
rude.
Well,
I just
a little
grabbed a
rude.
comfortable shirt from the closet there, but then I realized you're a Longhorn, and that's not cool.
I'm going to give you – you're going into a headlock the next time I see you. Just so you let you
But
know.
you know
And
what?
deservedly so.
You know what happened, Chris? As Todd gave the horns down, son.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I saw it when he
Okay.
came in. Whoa!
Oh, now it's going to be a headlock, and
I'm
I'm
just-
looking in there too. You get
I'm just
double
playing
whammy.
around. You know I love it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, bud.
See you
Have a good
guys.
weekend. That's Chris Sims,
You
Pro
too.
Football Talk Live. So I guess it's not a rumor. It sounds like it was at least it had some substance to it. I don't know. That's interesting. I understand, if you're going to be Seattle and try to rebuild that team, I understand the financial aspect of that, where you get that rookie cut. This isn't the first time or last time we're going to hear about something like this, where you're going to trade your quarterback before it's too late, before he makes too much money. Oh, we have our Chat Row T-shirt. It was submitted by Robert in Boston, and it's the number one T-shirt of all of our T-shirts that we had there for the Chat Row to vote on. Not the one I would have picked, but hey, this was Chat Row. And Robert in Boston, thank you for coming up with that. We will print that up. Jeremy, our printmaker, he will, T-shirt guy, he will come up with that. I am going to put up I'm going to print the penny one, the house dog penny, big German's dog. It might only be one T-shirt made, but I'm going to have that T-shirt made because I love me some penny. All right, we'll take a break. Last call for phone calls, close up shop. We have a winner with Todd's scoreboard challenge. Have that for you. Paulie, this day in sports history. Close up the shop after this. If I could have told you when you saw the national title game between Indiana State and Michigan State, you saw that in person?
Yeah, yeah.
And if I said you could buy stock in Magic or buy stock in Larry?
At the time, because I learned to shoot the jump shot, I would have said Larry.
Who had a better NBA career?
Man, that's neck and neck, man. That's they both of them, I think.
They both bowed out early.
They both bowed out early, injuries. I don't know the statistics and all that stuff. They were both, it's kind of a tie. They were both sick. But for me, in college, because the blonde hair and literally Larry got me from shooting here to here. Literally, seriously, when I saw him play, and this was at the time where you didn't watch, there was no replay. I was 9. So that game came on, and it was etched in my memory. Those semifinal games in college came on, it was etched in my memory. That changed my life. But the minute Larry Bird, and I swear, my father is not one of these crazy New Yorkers who, like, bred me to hate the Celtics. We never discussed it. It was in my blood. When he put that green uniform on, it was like God spoke to me and said, that's not a good person anymore. I swear to God, like, it's not like I was bred like, you're a New Yorker, we hate the... It's like when I saw him in that uniform for the Celtics, there was no more. And I hated Larry Bird, but he changed my life because him and Magic, but really him, because then I developed this over-the-head left-handed jump shot, iconic, of course.
Just ask, Google it.
Yeah, Google that with X.
You look a little like you could be in the Bird family.
The best-looking bird.
I don't know.
Say that.
That's not a compliment.
Say that, Dan. Say that. That's not like saying you look like you'd be in the Brad Pitt family. Say you look like you could be the best. Say that.
You're the most handsome bird brother.
Thank you. That's still not saying much, but it's better than...
No, it's not.
What a day you're having.
Fritzy's not here.
Oh.
That's a win. Sun. Street corn.
It's going to be like 70 today. We may have to crack a beer.
Teriyaki chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Now, the firemen are supposed to come by, but it's possible they're on a call because I haven't heard back from my guy there. I'll check.
Do you think they debated about going on a call so they could come over here for...
I could see them hesitating.
Yeah, we invited the firefighters next door over. By the way, how about my little sign right here? I think that means if pigs could fly. Yeah. Isn't that the expression? If pigs could fly, then...
This is your birthday pie.
Oh!
Your birthday cake is a pumpkin pie.
How much time before we go back? Somebody's coming.
They're coming.
Uh-oh. Hey, man. Come on in. I gotta go back on the air.
Oh, boy. What's going on? You've been here before, right?
I've been here when you guys first opened. Yeah, I'm Jack.
Send this out to our good friend Melissa Etheridge, great singer-songwriter. Her 21-year-old son, Beckett, passed away earlier this week. Here's Arcade Fire as we close up this Meat Friday Dan Patrick Show. All right, so Chat Row has their T-shirt they voted on this week. We have Fritzy's scoreboard winner, James in Indiana. The two numbers on Fritzy's scoreboard were 5 and 5 for the home and visitors. Do we do this day in sports history to find out what 5 and 5 is, Todd? Paulie, this day in sports history.
I got a few, Dan. 1941, Joe DiMaggio became the first Major League, started his hitting streak of 56 games.
What jersey number did
he wore? Number 5.
Joe DiMaggio. 1973, now Nolan Ryan of the Angels pitched his first no-hitter. And I have this day in show history. It's a big one.
Okay.
I think it was 4 years ago today was Steak Night in Almerica. We were out at our DirecTV studios in Los Angeles. We had Al Michaels in studio. We had his restaurant Toscana bring his entire steak meal for him at 8 o'clock Pacific time, and we had Steak Night in Almerica for breakfast.
Yep, we just showed that clip. The Big German showed that clip on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. The other 5 on there, Todd?
Born on May 15th, 1953. The clue was riding the pine.
That would have been me, but I wasn't born in 1953.
Playing with pine.
George Brett Pine-Tar.
George Brett, born on May 15th,
Wow.
1953. The other number 5, DiMaggio and Brett.
Yes, McLovin.
Teddy Bridgewater, number 5. That could have been it too.
Thank you, McLovin.
If he was in the news for something.
Tony in Ohio joins us. Hi, Tony. What do you have for me today? Hey, Tone. Thank you, Tony. Tilly in Indiana. Hey, Till.
Hey, Dan, Bloomington specific, obviously. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Coming to you live from a beer cave and a liquor store. I know that'd make you proud.
Nice.
And go with the normal 6'4" and an essential current 2.55 spins.
Okay.
Hey, just real quick on Mr. Snell, and I know people are probably beating him up over it, but like you mentioned, the last thing you want to hear about right now are millionaires and billionaires fighting about things. I'd welcome him to remember that there are some of us out there that don't have a choice in working or not working right now. We have to work, and we are making pennies upon what he's making. So I just hope he takes that into consideration when he says some of the things like that. And a big happy birthday to you, and have a great weekend, my man.
Thank you, Till. Steve in Florida joins us. Hi, Steve. What do you have for me today?
How you doing, Dan?
Good, sir.
I wanted to wish you a happy birthday because your birthday is the same as mine, May 15th.
Thank you.
1958. Other than that, I just want to say, you guys, I enjoy listening to you for a very long time. You tell it like it is as far as that. And if you could just give me an answer on what do you think is possibly going to happen if we're going to see an NFL season? And if so, how are my Jets going to do?
All right. Well, thank you, Steve. I'm not quite sure about either one of those questions there. I'm not going to break down the Jets right now. Maybe they'll be better than they're supposed to be. I would like to see Sam Darnold do well. I like him, and hopefully they give him enough weapons there that he can succeed. But, it still feels like it's Daniel Jones as the New York quarterback over Sam Darnold right now. And I have no idea about the football season other than what I told you. And somebody who I trust who said they think that the season starts October 8th. And that'll be the Buccaneers against the Bears on a Thursday night. That was just the gut feeling. We have no science, no research, no nothing. That was just the feeling that he has with other people in his industry. Let's put it that way. Just got a text from Chris Sims. We were talking about Russell Wilson and was he on the trading block? Did the Seahawks think about trading him to the Cleveland Browns? And I believe that is, I could see a scenario where that was true. I don't know how serious they were, but, and maybe it was a negotiating ploy. Maybe they just say, hey, you don't want to sign for our number, we'll send you to Cleveland and get the number 1 pick. I just wanted to know who Seattle was going to take And then he says it would probably have been the quarterback Josh Allen out of Wyoming and not Baker Mayfield Jr. the third. Chris Sims just sent a text saying, this is why Russell Wilson's agent got the no trade clause. The agent was aware of the Browns trade talk. Now, that's interesting. That's interesting. Feels like it's becoming less of a rumor and now fact that that was probably what they were thinking about. Yeah, Paul.
Since Chris Sims is saying he's reporting this, no longer a rumor, we could discuss it because it was, at least at some point, a possibility. If you were the Browns and it were offered, and you know, going into that draft knowing you were going to go Baker, Josh Allen, you could take Russell Wilson and his big contract, but you know exactly what you're going to get. What do you think you would have done, Dan?
If I thought the Browns were ready to win, now I didn't like Freddie Kitchens as the coach, and you have to factor that in as well. Russell would have made him look like a better coach, but I just didn't think he was ready to be a coach in the NFL, particularly with all of those expectations and the personalities that he had. If you had somebody in there who thought that they were ready to compete for a Super Bowl, they were a playoff caliber team, given how starved they are for a winner in Cleveland, I would have brought in Russell Wilson. Because you can have these other quarterbacks, and we don't know if Josh Allen's going to be great. We don't know if Baker Mayfield's going to be great. We've seen greatness, but we don't know. We've seen greatness with Russell Wilson. He's never missed a game. He goes to the playoffs. He won one Super Bowl, went to another one. He's going to the Hall of Fame. And he would be a steadying influence on that team. He's not a quarterback that has to throw the ball 40 times, 30 times. He picks his spots. He keeps you in games. He wins games. And if I'm Cleveland, that's what you need, a reliable quarterback. And this is what Baker has to get back to. You must be reliable. You can't take chances. Reggie Miller will join us coming up on Monday's show. And we'll talk about the final episodes of The Last Dance. I don't know if Reg gets roughed up by Michael Jordan. Part of me hopes he does a little bit, just to hear what Reggie sounds like on Monday. I think most people are rooting for Jordan here. Poor Reg. Can't catch a break. People are rooting for Jordan to rough him up there. Go around the room. I'm going to start with you, Seton O'Connor.
I learned that Todd has a unique ability to just grab the most comfortable shirt off the top of the pile and have it somehow relate to a guest that we're having on. Because it's happened 3 times this week. It was like,
Really
I just
have.
grabbed what's on top of the pile. I didn't know it was going to be a rival.
Is Texas A&M a rival to Texas now?
Is that a real question?
I didn't even think of that.
Well, it was to Chris Sims.
Yeah, they're in the same state, but I don't Texas A&M. I don't, just because they're in the same state doesn't make them some arch rivals. The Aggies and Longhorns have a long history.
I would rather that you admitted that you did it on purpose.
I did not do it
than
on
to
purpose.
act as if you don't know that
He
Texas.
somehow accidentally does it multiple times a week. Well, what?
The other ones with the conference commissioners, I was looking for things in the SEC and the Pac-12. For this, that was just a coincidence.
I don't know if Auburn and Alabama, are they rivals? I don't know.
Texas A&M and Texas, is there really some long history of those two?
Why don't you put it out there, Todd, and let people respond to
I
you?
don't know. 2 teams in the same state doesn't make it some kind of huge world sports rivalry.
Yes, McLovin, what did you learn today?
I learned there was a movie called Best Little Whorehouse in Texas with Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson, Dolly Parton, all about the Texas A&M rivalry. That was a big hit that Todd didn't see.
I did not see that.
Paulie, what'd you learn today?
The Texas A&M football rivalry goes back to 1894.
Classic matchups.
What we learned, brought to you by LegalZoom. They make it easy to set up the right estate plan without leaving your home. Take care of your family today. The right estate plan at LegalZoom.com. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Happy birthday.
No. No.
Just because I wasn't
Have
first.
a great weekend. Talk to you.
Happy birthday.